They're talking in the hallway, so find out.
Oh, they can, yeah, this way. So sorry, now. One last question. A lot of firms go as a group.
Here's Van back up again. Yeah, bounty on the floor.
He officially starts on the first, but he'll be at the end. I heard a lot of people last week on that played much of like actually just talking to Chuck today. Remember Cassie Damer? Technology. That's how you heard. Turbo. She was sitting next to Cassie's father. Texted her, and she's like, where you going? And he's like, come work for us. Over the course of the weekend, talked to like Scott Gattold and got approval. Long time.
Yep.
I'm glad Chuck is here.
The tracks and the train keeps derailing and
caught off guard when Kelsey told me.
I apologize, everyone. We're having some IT difficulties. It's taking a little bit longer than we thought, so just hold on a few more minutes. Thank you for your patience.
But yeah, it's been exciting.
Michelle, or
I also opened the grand. Yeah, it's been really exciting.
Designed to make our lives better. Earn electricity, though. That's right. Let's go all the way back to blame Edison. Are we ready?
we're up again. Like we're streaming on YouTube.
Roger, can you go tell them we're going to start? Just tell them to come on in.
We're up. Starve them out, right?
Ready for that?
Okay, great. Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, everyone. Thank you. Apologize for the delay. Quiet, please. Thank you. Sorry, I know it's hard to get back started once you have a long break like that, but I appreciate everyone's patience. We were having a IT technical difficulty. We're having some issues with the transmission. Currently, it is working, and we hope that it continues working all evening. There is a chance that it will go out again. It's a hardware issue. I don't know if I'm saying that right, actually, but it's a it's a physical issue. And so in the chance that it does go out, I will get notified by our IT, and we will be recording at the podium, at the dais with recording systems, and we'll also be having diligent notes being taken by our city staff, and so that we can make sure to get a proper recording. We want to make sure that, especially in an event where there's obviously a lot of interest, that we have the proper recording. And we apologize to anyone at home that may lose transmission if that is the case, but we hope that it is not. And so with that, we will continue on with our presentation from Roger Crusoe regarding 2230 Woodward Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Foster. So I'll go back one slide. The staff report outlines site plan considerations that should be looked at. Those include access management, vehicular circulation, parking, building design, landscaping and screening, lighting, TOD overlay standards, specific use standards related to vehicle-related businesses and auto washes, and then waste management. I did put together one side of the site plan, so I'll orientate people to this. The left side, running north-south, that gray box, is the tunnel car wash. I don't think this will. Or from coming. Municipal code, and so there is just one motion for approval in there. It should be noted that under the motion for approval of the site plan, there are conditions. Staff did not include conditions related to the special land use. One of the things, one of the criteria was hours of operation, so there was some comments in there. So if you do get to the special land use and are leaning towards approval, you may want to consider various conditions which would help alleviate any of the criteria you feel may need to be addressed. Final, I'll repeat this, the special land use is a recommendation by Planning Commission to City Council. There will be a future City Council public hearing, so I encourage everyone, no matter what the outcome of tonight is, to also come to City Council and express your concerns. And then the site plan final decision rests with the Planning Commission. With that said, this includes staff's report. The applicant is available. I think they're going to give a presentation, and then the public can speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Gabe Schuckman. Thank you for having us today here this evening. I'm excited to present to you an opportunity for a new mixed-use development containing a state-of-the-art auto wash and second-floor office space, replacing an abandoned and blighted fast food restaurant building with hopefully a much-needed amenity for the city and its residents. We're here today seeking site plan approval from the Planning Commission and a recommendation for special land use approval. I'm fortunate to have some team members here today as well that are going to be doing various presentations. The first person I'd like to call up is Mitch Harvey. He's with Stonefield Engineering, who's going to talk about the site plan and a little bit more about the car wash operation.
Thank you, Gabe. Welcome, Mitch.
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Mitchell Harvey, 555 South Old Woodward, Birmingham. Roger, would we be able to pull up a site plan as we're going through this, or?
Your own PowerPoint?
I do have my own.
I can't look here, but I can pull up the staff report.
That's fine.
Yeah, my slides are.
Let's go to elevation. Yeah, that's
the
great.
old site.
Thanks for bearing with us there. So, as mentioned, the nature of this request is for a special land use and site plan approval for the proposed car wash located at the old Tim Hortons site. The site is currently vacant, about 0.7 acres, and is bounded by College Street to the north and University to the south. So when we were designing this site, one of the things that we did is we pushed the building up along Woodward. This kind of creates a consistent street frontage with some of the existing buildings that is consistent with the overall corridor as well as the TOD ordinance. By doing that, we were able to push the parking and stacking towards the east of the site. So this naturally screens the parking from Woodward by the nature of the building, and then the residents to the east are screened by a 6-foot masonry screening wall. The 21 proposed vacuum spaces, those are actually going to be inside a enclosure, so those are going to be fully enclosed within a building. This is going to minimize any sound as well as provide customers with an opportunity to vacuum out their cars during the winter months. To the east of the alleyway, we have shown 10 parking spaces, 2 of which will have EV charging stations associated with them. And then just touch on stacking. Stacking is going to be fully contained within the site. We have 27 stacking spaces within the queue lane where 25 are required by code. Access to the site will be through 2 proposed curb cuts. The first is a right-in, right-out curb cut along Woodward. We worked really closely with MDOT to kind of come up with a geometry that works for that location, and we have been able to obtain their approval on this proposed curb cut. And then we are also proposing a driveway along College. It'll have full movement into the site, but that egress movement will be restricted to left out only. So there won't be any right turns coming off of that College Street intersection. From a landscaping standpoint.
Sorry, I'm going to nip this in the bud right now. Everyone will get their opportunity to speak. It is
The site is extremely well landscaped. We're proposing over 24 trees across the site, intermixed with various shrubs, perennials, and grasses. An evergreen hedgerow we have proposed across Woodward. This is going to provide an additional level of screening, kind of street frontage landscaping, as well as we've included a little pedestrian seating area to the southeast or southwest of the site, as well as some covered bike parking spaces. Lighting, we're going with a reduced light pole height of 12 to 15 feet, and all fixtures will be fully downlit and dark sky compliant. Stormwater environmental, I want to touch on this just briefly. We're proposing an underground detention system that has been designed per the City of Ferndale engineering standards. Currently, there's no stormwater detention system on site, so we believe that'll be an improvement to the site. The car wash system itself uses a 3-stage shuttling filter as well as a reverse osmosis system to allow for us to reuse about 90% of the water from wash to wash. So, once we have that initial water within the car wash, we're reusing and able to reutilize a lot of that water. All soaps are also biodegradable and environmentally friendly. The final item I want to touch on is going to be sound here. So I know that is one of the concerns that was generally brought up. We engaged Soundscape Engineering to prepare a sound study of the site. So what they did is they modeled the building, the topography of the site, and then took an analysis of the existing noise levels and compared them to the proposed noise levels. Without going into too much detail of the report, with the entrance and exit doors to the tunnel open, which they are actually speed doors, so they close when no one is going in there. So these doors are opening and closing as cars are entering and exiting the tunnel. But with these doors open, along the alleyway, we're looking at decibel levels of 61, 60, 50, 56, 57, and 61. So well within the ordinance standards and generally fairly quiet compared to a lot of car washes. Just for example, traffic passing by, I believe they took the study at 10 a.m. on a Sunday. They had existing sound levels of around 55, 57. So not a very large marginal increase in the overall sound, and that's really due to the high-tech equipment we're using. All our vacuum producers are fully enclosed, our dryers are muffled, and then on top of it, we do have those speed doors to just kind of muffle all that sound and really provide a very minimal impact on the surrounding area from a sound standpoint. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to Gabe. To hand it back over to Gabe to continue the presentation.
Thank you so much, Mitch. Thank you. I'd next like to invite up Amy Green with Krieger Klatt. So Amy is the project architect. She's going to talk a little bit about the building, the design. And, one thing to talk about, we worked really closely with Roger Caruso and his team to come up with a mixed-use project here. That was really critical from the first day we spoke with Roger. So we're excited to really, talk about the fact that there's a second-story office component here as well. Go ahead.
The building is a fully brick building. The glass requirements fall within the code. As you can see, we've got an expanse of glazing on the vacuum structure. And you'll see the recessed areas that have the gray, that's also brick. I did mention fully brick building. The garage door is going to be portion of the glazing that is on the building. Trying to think of what else I need to mention. The trim is true to the trade dress for El Car Wash. We've added some clear story to the tower. Which does, again, add some additional glazing impact there. The second story of the building is going to be used for corporate office space. So it is, we're equipped with the elevator, the stairs, everything to utilize that second story for full public use and corporate El Car Wash use. What else do we need to mention about the building? It pretty much speaks for itself in regards to the materials that are on it and the amount of glazing. But as far as the second story, that was an accommodation I know that was designed in, as was the glazing, which isn't a typical El Car Wash component. So with the vacuum enclosure, like was mentioned by Mitch, that's all to accommodate use, sound, and then also we've got the glazing element, which I know is important. Okay. Turn it back over to Gabe.
Thank you, Amy. And then we have Parker and Stephen who are showing the elevations of the building. So if you have any questions or want to take a look at it closer later on, please let us know. Next, I'd like to invite up Jim Epping with J. Epping Partners for a few brief words.
Welcome, Jay.
Thank you. My name again is Jim Epping. I'm a land planner up in Clarkston and proud to be a part of the team. Really what I wanted to address is some of the site plan issues and reiterating what our architect and engineer have said as it relates to the special land use considerations, because obviously, as your planner had mentioned, it's a two-part consideration tonight. The site plan, which is a recommendation for approval, or at least has demonstrated that it meets those criteria, and then the site plan special land use approval, which in many cases is a little more subjective or a little finer nuanced in terms of its consideration. The big issue I think that we all should be considering, and certainly Gabe and the team at El Car Wash have considered, is the notion of the impact of the surrounding neighborhoods, Woodward Avenue itself, and as the special land use criteria says, homes and businesses within 2,500 feet. I want to reiterate what Mitch had talked about in terms of the sound study. We very specifically studied the sound Sunday morning at 10 a.m. in terms of existing conditions. And we did that because arguably that's probably the quietest time, right? Monday morning at 8 a.m. during rush hour, Woodward itself generates a lot of noise. So we said, hey, from an impact point of view, what does it look like or what does it sound like at its very quietest time? And so we looked at 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning, and then we compared scientifically, we've provided that data of what the noise may generate with the car wash, with the doors that go up and down, with everything internalized, and it's just marginally different I think from a sound decibel point of view, we're saying that it's nearly identical to a Sunday morning at 10 a.m. And so what's important about that is we're demonstrating that it really will not have any sound impact on the surrounding neighborhood, certainly the homes and businesses within 2,500 feet, but more importantly, the homes and businesses that are very, very close by. If we compare that to some of the former uses, let's just say the Tim Hortons that had a speaker box, this doesn't have any type of amplified sound outdoor, so there's no speaker box, there's no one ordering coffee at 7 a.m. Our hours start later, and everything, again, is internalized or done by computer. From an architectural point of view, Krieger Platt Architects have done a wonderful job. They've elevated the building at the road, and that provides additional buffer, not only visual buffering, but sound buffering as well. And so that creates some additional buffering along with our landscape and everything else. The master plan Ferndale talks specifically about the benefits of Woodward Avenue and it being a transit-oriented. Obviously, we think that this fits well into not only a neighborhood use. We know that residents throughout Ferndale will take advantage of the car wash, but as well as the commuters that go up and down Woodward, and even some of our businesses like the car dealerships. And so we think it's a wonderful addition. We know that we've done the scientific things from a sound point of view, from a buffering point of view to make it a good project. So we appreciate your consideration.
Thank you, Jim.
We also we have Salman Ahmed here today with Fleece and Vandenbrink. Fleece and Vandenbrink worked on the traffic study and has a lot of information about that as well, and it's a major concern for the community. So we'd like to touch upon that as well, of what we're improving the current sites, what we're going to be doing now.
Hi. So we reviewed the existing operation at the, sorry for you.
Not savvy with this, Roger. Apologize. Not savvy with this. I apologize. Just go to the site plan.
Yeah, just back here. Thanks.
Traffic.
So we completed a traffic impact study for this site. The scope was verified with the city and the Michigan Department of Transportation. MDOT has a defined criteria for evaluating how the site is going to impact the adjacent roadway network. And then we use different softwares that that are used to evaluate like how the existing conditions currently work without we add the tips from the car wash, how it is going to impact the results or any operational issues that is if it arises. The results of all the analysis, it shows that even with the addition of the car wash, all the adjacent intersections, the crossovers, they are going to operate acceptably. They have a defined criteria where we use like level of service, and then based on that, it is going to operate acceptably at level of service D. If it operates below level of service D, we consider it to be failing. We have a software that we use to evaluate how much queuing is going to be.
Do you mind if I just interject right there? So that was the MDOT impact results, and you said that it was acceptable, and then failing would be below. Is there a category above, or is it just accepting or
So
failure?
the level of service has like we go from level of service A to all the way to level of service F. MDOT considers that if the level of service is, if the site operates, if the intersection operates at level of service D or better, it is considered as acceptable.
Okay.
So the results of all the analysis showed that all of the evaluated intersections, they operate acceptably at level of service D. And then, and the city engineers reviewed the study, and they have said that they have no longer have any outstanding issues related to traffic.
Okay, thank you. Sorry if I cut you off and you were just about to explain that.
Yep, no, it's fine.
Thank you.
I was, again, Jim Epping, I was initially confused myself by level of service D. I think what's important to note there is the road currently operates on that level, in that we're making no impact to that, that would add additional traffic of any measurable amount to Woodward Avenue. And so it operates at an existing level of D, and it'll continue to do so.
Just to add to that, was the prior site plan or the site design with the egresses as they were designed, or how they are currently designed, would that, did you also get that studied, or, and what, if there's an improvement or a
You're right in saying that the Tim Hortons site has 2 entrance points onto Woodward and none onto College. This maintains 2, but it puts 1 onto the North College so that people can exit to the west, I guess it would be, and out to Woodward, and eliminates 1 on Woodward. It does not. Because of Woodward's volume, over 50,000 cars a day, whether it's a donut shop or a car wash on this size property doesn't impact that. So our change from the former Tim Hortons to the proposed El Car Wash essentially has the same 0 impact onto the road.
Okay, and then, so the change in the use and the amount of traffic for that proposed use, but also, I'm curious in terms of the change in the traffic pattern with the 2 egresses on Woodward to the 1 and the, is there changes between that?
There's, I'll ask our engineer to comment and fact check me. But no, there's, in terms of stacking, in terms of conflict, you know, what's nice about El Car Wash use is it's even at its busiest day, you know, on a July 3rd when it's just sunny and beautiful and everybody decides to get their car washed before the holiday, it has a predictable cadence. About every 2 minutes or so a car comes out, and so that timing allows cars to continue to flow. We believe that there'll be an equal amount of cars that'll flow either to Woodward directly from the site or out to College and then left to Woodward. So there is no anticipated additional stacking or conflicts that'll happen with those movements that were shown.
Thank you. And I guess what I was also curious is how it impacts the MDOT criteria on impact, and if that changes, and then also just going from the 2 to 1, because it is 1 less conflict point on Woodward. So I wasn't sure if that changed the decision by MDOT or the rating by impact.
I also wanted to point out that we evaluate the peak hours, like what are the peak hours when the site would have the highest impact on the adjacent street. So Woodward Avenue usually has the peak hours between like 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. in the evening. So during the weekdays, so those are the hours where we observe the highest amount of traffic on the adjacent street. And then based on that, we just evaluate how much trips we are adding during those peak hours, and just trying to see that if there is going to be any queues at the site because of the heavy traffic on Woodward Avenue. And based on that, we evaluated that there's not going to be any significant amount of queues based on the existing proposed access points on Woodward and College Street. So, yep, they are going to work acceptably.
Okay, thank you. And just to summarize the engineer speak a little bit. So it sounds like the 2 main kind of concerns is the stacking and then the amount of traffic going through the bike lanes. Was there a question?
Sorry, yes, through the chair. So to confirm, the level of service D was for the Woodward side, but did you also evaluate the College and Woodward intersection and how that would be affected during the peak hours? Is it also level of service D?
Yep. So we evaluated the College Street and Woodward Avenue intersection, and we evaluated 2 additional crossovers along Woodward Avenue, and then also the side driveways, the side driveway on Woodward and the side driveway on College Street. All of these intersections, they are going to operate acceptably.
Thank you.
I also just realized I used engineer speak in trying to summarize engineer speak. Stacking is when cars stack up, just in case that's a term that people are not familiar with. And then the, like conflict points obviously are, the amount of vehicles going in and out across the traffic. So thank you. Anything else from your team?
I'd like to, hit some points with respects to, meeting the special land use standards and, and talk through that, if that's okay. So I wrote down a lot of things. I apologize if I take up too much time, but if you can forgive me, I think it's all important, so I appreciate it. Special land use, as hopefully we've demonstrated today, we're going to meet all the standards for the Planning Commission to recommend us for special land use approval. And while such recommendation approval is consistent also with the city's recent practices of approving special use requests for similarly situated properties. Before going into each specific special use standard in a general sense of proposed development, I believe revitalizes a property that has remained vacant and blighted for years. We believe it's going to improve neighborhood safety and current aesthetics with a use that benefits the community. We believe there's an obvious service gap here. There's a scarcity of car washes in Ferndale. Despite having high car wash ownership rates among its residents, available statistical data indicates that of approximately 10,000 homes, the average household owns 2 cars. An increased demand for state-of-the-art auto wash that is committed to investing in the latest technologies and innovations in the industry, using environmentally safe detergents, and employing state-of-the-art water regulating and reclamation systems. And also, we believe we're producing an immediate, sustainable economic and community impact. It has the potential to attract new business activity and opportunities for employment. Most important thing is the people that work at all car wash live in the community. And the second floor office space, which will be our corporate headquarters, and its users will support local businesses and create tax revenue for the city. We also support a lot of different charities and nonprofits. We're very engaged in neurodivergent issues and various other things, which I'd be happy to talk further about. More specifically, the proposed development satisfies the special land use standards. Number 1, unreasonably detract from, erode, or reduce the desirability or economic viability of any residential business use within 2,500 feet of the proposed use. This project alone, we're going to invest over $10 million in this development. I believe that's going to attract additional business to the community. The car wash site has been designed to minimize the impact on users within 2,500 feet and improve upon existing conditions. This property was previously occupied by Tim Hortons with a drive-through window, and large parking lot has been vacant for some time. The new 2-story building will be farther away from residential properties to the east and have no impact on commercial properties to the north and south along Woodward Avenue, and hopefully will spur additional development and challenge developers such as ourselves, like Roger challenges to do, to build a mixed-use project. And in fact, will serve as an amenity to the residents of the city and may serve as a catalyst to enhance and support the neighboring businesses. Ferndale lacks a modern drive-through car wash, and residents have to drive over 2 miles to the nearest one located on 8 Mile Road. None are located on Woodward Avenue, and this site would be far more convenient for Ferndale residents. It would minimize travel time, reduce the amount of fuel needed to reach other drive-through car wash facilities as well. Special land use number 2, or standard number 2, be designed, constructed, operated, and maintained so as to be harmonious with existing or intended character of the general vicinity and will not change the essential character of the area. The site design of the proposed special land use shall minimize the impact of site activity on surrounding properties. In determining this, whether this requirement has been met, consideration shall be given. In general, the properties located on Woodward Avenue where approximately 30,000 cars travel each day. There are a number of auto-oriented establishments on Woodward, including a collision shop, fuel and service stations, car dealerships. The stacking of vehicles will be similar to all and likely have fewer cars than other drive-through establishments on Woodward Avenue. And the design is optimized to limit wait time, if for any vehicles being washed. The location and screening of vehicular circulation and parking areas in relation to surrounding development. Additional screening added to the height of the existing masonry, as you can tell, while to provide additional screening from residential neighborhood. With the previously noted fully enclosed vacuum area along and additional landscaping screening and improved traffic control minimizes the impact the car wash will have on the surrounding properties. the location and screening of outdoor storage, outdoor activity, or work areas and mechanical equipment in relation to surrounding development. All activities will take place indoors, including the vacuum area. Hours of operation for the proposed use. We've currently proposed from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., and we're happy to consider, based upon the special land use criteria, to talk through this evening hours of operation as well. The bulk placement and materials of construction of the proposed use in relation to surrounding uses. All construction materials will be located on-site and will not negatively impact surrounding areas. The impact of parking on the surrounding area. Traffic flow into, through, and out of the site has been carefully planned to allow ease of vehicles into the site without backing up onto Woodward Avenue or College and University streets. Once in the site, there are 2 stacking lanes of 769 lateral feet and 3 pay booths before entering the wash. This equates to 38 stacking spaces and provides adequate capacity even on the busiest day. The site plan's proposed ingress and egress reflect the comments of the representatives of the Michigan Department of Transportation to minimize the traffic impact on Woodward Avenue and to ensure the safe ingress and egress from the property. Be served by adequately existing public service and facilities and not impose additional service demands upon the city that will not be adequately addressed by the applicant. The proposed office and car wash uses should not place additional service demands on existing public services and facilities beyond the typical commercial operation. Further enhance the public health, safety, welfare, and economic benefit and the municipal purposes and policies of the city. 1, we are removing and redeveloping an unsightly and blighted property. The site design mitigates externalities, noise, traffic, attractive nuisance, and create a safer neighborhood. Creates an amenity and convenience for the residents of Ferndale that avoids requiring longer drives to other auto washes. The water use of ECW compared to someone washing a car at home uses 5 times less water. We also believe we're going to serve as a catalyst for other local businesses and potential new redevelopment opportunities, create new jobs, and additional tax revenue. The last point of the special land use criteria. Be consistent with the intent and purpose of this chapter and the objectives of the master plan and comply with all applicable state and federal laws. The proposed use, while requiring a special land use, is nonetheless a use that is contemplated for the property. The city in its planning process has deemed an auto wash with second-floor office space as an acceptable use of the property and a business it desires for the property, provided that it can meet the special use standards. Those standards are not meant to provide an insurmountable barrier for uses the city may not desire, particularly because the city has codified in its ordinance that such a use is compatible and acceptable for this property. While the master plan's intent is to lessen car dependency, certainly a noble pursuit, it is inconceivable, not even contemplated by the master plan, that it will eradicate the use of automobiles. So the reality is that for the long term, we will still rely on the use of automobiles in some fashion as a means of transportation. And despite the lofty goals of the master plan, I would venture to guess that every single person in the audience or in the Planning Commission owns or at least leases 1 automobile. I would likewise assume that nearly every person in attendance tonight opposing this project also owns or uses a car. And it is undeniable that despite the goal to make Woodward Corridor in the city more accessible and walkable, which the proposed project will not hinder, Woodward Avenue is and will remain a major thoroughfare that currently has approximately 30,000 cars daily using it to traverse the city. All we are seeking is the approval for the use that will provide amenity and benefit for the city, all those car owners, residents of the city, and those who drive Woodward on a daily basis. This plan, we believe, satisfies the special land use standards and should receive the Planning Commission's recommendation for approval. I really appreciate your time today, and thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much. With the presentations over, we will move next to our public hearing, and after which we will bring it to the Planning Commission for discussion and questions of the applicant. So I want to start off by thanking you all for joining us. This is certainly the most people I've ever seen at a Planning Commission meeting before, and we're always happy to have friendly faces in the crowd, which they are, I feel, great energy with us tonight, a very community-oriented energy, and I wanted to keep it that way. So I expect everyone to remain respectful, of course, and I'm looking forward to hearing some great comments from all of you. Looks like probably a lot of the neighborhood showed up, and we really appreciate that. Since there is quite a few of you, I apologize in advance. We're usually a little bit less restrictive at the Planning Commission, but I'm going to keep it to a strict 3 minutes at the public hearing, just to respect everyone's time. I know you guys are all busy and taking time out of your day. And so we will use the clock so you can kind of keep track. It might be helpful for those of you who have prepared comments, potentially go first. If anyone wrote in comments, we did receive all the wrote in comments prior. And so I would request that if you have already sent in written comments that if you want to save everyone some time, that you don't come up. I'm not going to restrict you from it, though. And then if anyone, feel free to piggyback off of each other's responses, and it might help us move through very quickly. But of course, happy to hear all of your voices as well. So with that being said, I just wanted to remind everyone that this is the first part of the process for the special land use. The Planning Commission is a recommending body, and the City Council has the final approval authority on that. And so if you are interested in following it through, keep a track of the project, and when it comes to the City Council, I encourage you to use your voice there as well. And with that, I will open the public hearing for 22230 Woodward Avenue for the special land use application up at 7:49.
Should we remind that they need to give name, address?
Yeah, if you could give your name and address to start off.
Yep, my name is Megan Buckingham. My address is 361 College Street. I've been a resident of Ferndale for 10 years. I can say right now a left turn onto College is, pardon the word, laughable, because there is now a no right turn sign at the light, and if there's more than 3 cars stacked up on College Street, they will have no choice but to turn right down the residential area. From what I've researched, car wash use increases on weekends and holidays. If Honey Baked Ham and the car wash are both operating at full capacity, I can tell you now that there will be complete chaos and gridlock at this location. The gridlock caused by Honey Baked Ham alone is already stressful, and today you're not just considering the approval of this business, you are also considering mayhem. There is a stringent chemical odor that I detected when my friend and I actually went to an Elk car wash after hours to figure out, what things might still be there. I was the next business over, I was over 50 feet away, and the smell burned my nostrils. The drive-through car wash building also has multiple loud pressurized sounds that occur every 3 minutes. This is in addition to HVAC noises. These occur continuously, so around the clock, all night. It's not just during business hours. And we do have residential noise ordinances as well as commercial noise ordinances, and I feel like this will violate our residential noise ordinances. There's intense bright lights hours after closing. Dozens of trash receptacles, many of them full and not emptied, which are sure to attract more rats. Bright neon lights do turn off at 10 p.m., but bright blinking lights stay on after. I strongly urge those who are making this decision to visit an Elk car wash to better prepare you to make this decision. Granted, you're supposed to be doing that tonight. So I would also like to note the car wash that I visited was not in a residential area. It was next to a Tim Hortons, Dunkin' Donuts, gas station, McDonald's. There is a self-service car wash on 9 Mile right by the Taco Bell. Drive down a little further, you have a full-service car wash on 9 Mile south of Coolidge. There's one on Woodward at 11 and south of 8 Mile on Woodward, across from Palmer Woods. This is not an answer to a need that Ferndale has, and I do not want this car wash down the street from where I'm raising my kids who love to wash my car for free.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mata Brevard. I live at 250 College Street. I've been a resident of Ferndale for over 15 years. I live 6 homes away from the proposed site. For the past 2 years, my neighbors and I have been urging City Council to reject this proposal. On July 31st of 2023, the community attended an informational meeting at First United Methodist Church hosted by El Car Wash. I passed around a clipboard, and out of 45 people that filled out my survey, 43 were opposed to the car wash. We all want a better quality of life than that. I did bring that unofficial poll with me if anyone is interested in seeing that. The proximity to houses makes this location completely inappropriate for a mega car wash. The family that lives directly behind the site has 2 little girls, and I would never want that for them or my family. The owners, shareholders, developers, they would never live this close to one themselves. No one would choose that for their loved ones. I also do not want my children to breathe in exhaust and noxious chemicals 24 hours a day. I do not want them to experience the increase in noise, traffic, garbage, and light pollution this will bring. And yes, I would rather have an abandoned Tim Hortons. Our city... Our city is one of a kind. There is a relationship between residential areas and businesses that makes our city walkable, bikeable, and friendly. A giant commercial car wash does not enrich our community. It would take something away. Imagine cars backed up on Woodward during peak hours, obstructing sidewalks, alleys, and residential streets. And the risk to safety this poses to pedestrians, cyclists, and especially kids. And I really do believe that seeing the egress going on to College, there is a do not turn on red sign at College going on to Woodward. So already cars get backed up a little right there when there's a red light. So it will actually force some cars to either turn right onto College when there is a backup, or they will actually be blocking cars from turning onto College from Woodward. So, I visited the El Car Wash in Madison Heights after hours. I noted that what sounded like a pressurized air valve going off every 3 minutes. The smell of car wash chemicals were detectable from several yards away off of the property, and blazing bright lights, and that was all after hours. A car wash of this scale does not belong anywhere close to a person's home. It also does not align with our vibrant community culture, and it definitely does not belong feet away from where small children lay their heads down at night.
My name is Wolfram. I live on College Street 250. My reasons are children. With a car wash at the end of the street, some kids like playing in the street, and there will be way more traffic, so there's more of a chance someone could get hurt. Plus the air quality. With more cars comes more exhaust, and there are kids that like to play outside, but if the air quality is bad, it wouldn't be as good to play outside, because there would be chemicals in the air. Increased traffic and noise. With the car wash comes more traffic and noise, so it'd be harder to sleep and have a peaceful day without a lot of noise. It would take a lot of water, which would cause a mini flood on the street because the drains don't work that well. Light pollution. Many people live close to it, and with more light after dark, it's harder to fall asleep, even though there's houses very close to the car a car wash would reduce the value of houses because of the outside of it and the air quality. Hours of operation. Some kids go to sleep before the car wash is off, and it'd be very hard to sleep while there is constant noise and smells outside of your house. Safety for pedestrians and cyclists. Me and my family like to bike around, but it'd be way more dangerous if there was a car wash, because people would go speeding down our street, and that is not safe.
Yes.
That's all.
Thank you, Wilfram.
I'm Rosemary Borland. I live on 206 College Street, the house right next where this car wash might be. My name is Lena Rivard, and I live 5 houses down. I live at 250 College Street. The car wash people are taking advantage of kids because they might just think that kids may not fight back, but kids might just have more powers than the people think. There are enough car washes already. We don't need more. Almost all kids on College Street can't play in their yards anymore because all of the exhaust will be coming onto College Street, and that's not too safe. It won't be safe to ride our bikes anymore because there's probably going to be a bunch of traffic on our street. Vote no to L Car Wash. And
Thank you, ladies.
that's all. That's all.
Good job, guys. Hi, my name is Jonathan Borland. I'm at 206 College Street. I come to you today as a member of the family that lives directly next door to the old Tim Hortons. And the space designated for a parking lot is directly behind our house. That was my daughter here speaking when one of the young ladies just spoke. Others here tonight will speak about the countless nuisances a car wash will bring to our neighborhood, so I'm going to speak about how the development will specifically affect my family. My wife and I have lived in our house for 9 years. In that time, we've welcomed Rosemary, our 8-year-old, and Farah, our 6-year-old, into this world. Their safety and their future is everything to us. My wife and I also work from home, so our ability to make ends meet depend on the conditions in and around our home. So how would the car wash affect us? First, the noise. Imagine our 8-year-old trying to relax or do homework in her bedroom when tons of vacuums and 27 cars are stacked up and running about 20 feet away. There'll be loud radio noise, which no one has mentioned, sounds of engines revving, which no one has mentioned, and noise from the car wash tunnel itself. Imagine eating outside on our deck in the evening. We'd be lucky to be able to hear each other speak. I just want to reiterate again, I think they said at least 27, maybe 35 stacking spots on site there with cars running, or engines running. Imagine, the old Tim Hortons wasn't perfect, but it was never noisy. We never heard drive-thrus or anything else. Second, the smell. As others will tell you, and I told you the chemical smell comes from the L Car Wash at Madison Heights. Again, imagine our family dinner, or imagine children in their kiddie pool on a summer day, their eyes and noses irritated from chemicals next door. I expect there will be more colds and respiratory issues in our household, not to mention any permanent damage long exposure to chemical detergents may cause. Biodegradable does not mean safe.
Third, the traffic. This has been covered quite a bit. People are going to turn right anyway. If you see, there's actually a curb cut to the right there. It's naturally designed in the plan for people to turn right, even if it says not to. Finally, so the light, this has been covered well. My kids go to sleep before 9 p.m., they go to sleep before 8 p.m. I don't want my house looking like Miami Vice. I also want to mention the staff report, which did cover a lot of these problems, if you read the staff report, as well as I want to mention that we have a lot of neighborhood friends and family who've submitted signatures to an online petition. We have 630 signatures as of a few minutes ago, over 100 of them today. I've brought all of them here. I don't know if they can be entered in public record or something, but we have them. So this would be especially harmful for my daughters, my wife, my pets, and I. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Baker. I also live at 206 College Street, directly next door to the proposed car wash site. I won't say a whole lot more, but I'd like to start by saying I am pro-development. I'd love to see something great come into that space. Luxury condos, I know they don't want them in some neighborhoods, bring it on over, that's great. We moved in next door to Tim Hortons that was functioning at the time. We were prepared to live next door to a restaurant. Like, we are not going to block the majority of things that come into that space. This is an industrial facility that belongs in an industrial neighborhood. There's a reason why it's not zoned. There's a reason why this is not in our normal zoning for this type of residential community. My husband and I moved here from New York City. We're used to living in a bustling, walkable community, and that's what we love about Ferndale. So again, we'd love to have something great come into the space. This is not it. I'd also like to mention the staff report from the city uses the word nuisance 8 times to mention this proposal. So I think you understand why, as neighbors, we're not thrilled about the idea of having it come into our neighborhood. And then really the final point I'd like to make is the developers came up here saying they're getting rid of an eyesore. I would like to point out that they have owned this space since 2023. So if they cared about our community at all, they would not have garbage bags stacked up outside the property, which is there right now. Trash, there's weeds, there's graffiti. They do not care about us. They're poor stewards of the space now, and I believe they will continue to be poor stewards of the space if this proposal moves forward. And my final point I'd like to make is that all these kids who just got up and spoke were not prompted to do this. They were not prompted, they were not pushed. They wanted to do this. They're concerned about their homes and their neighborhoods. And what I ask of the Planning Commission is that you will turn this into a great positive lesson in civic engagement for them rather than, a decision that ends up negatively impacting their lives.
Thank you, Jen.
Good evening, everyone. I am Dustin Hagfors. I live at 190 Wordsworth, and I recognize half the panel up here because I used to be on the Planning Commission when this came before us the last time. And when it came before us the last time, I remember them kind of peddling this project, and I kind of threw out to them a challenge and said, if you really want to do a mixed-use building that's going to benefit the community and be walkable, I want to see some entrances from Woodward for the office space, for the space that you're saying this is for the community. We still have a building that's a rear entrance that you have to walk across a bunch of stacking vehicles to enter into the office community space. But on top of that, I actually took some kind of good notes when we were having this discussion at the end about all the benefits of this building will bring. So first of all, the building's not actually farther away from the houses behind it. When you add in the built-in vacuum building, it's pretty much the same distance than Tim Hortons, so not really a benefit there. Pointing to the other auto-centric businesses that have been present in the community for decades that, again, we all tolerate because we moved into them, that's not a consolation prize for saying this is why it should be a special land use. Again, the Tim Hortons has been actively empty for a long time. I've never seen a for sale sign on it. Now finding out that it's been sold by them since 2023, I'm happy I see Click fixed them quite a bit. You know, the mock-ups, if we're talking about details, that mock-up there does not even include bike lanes. It's showing a car turning right into the... So I understand that you're trying to show us all these details, but you need to pay attention to that specific detail that the community has also invested a lot of money in. And finally, please do not insult the community that you claim that you're going to support with your tax write-off charitable donations. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Ray Crusette. I live at 268 Pearson Street. I've lived there for 30 years, and I'm, I guess, adjacent to the proposed car wash on the other side of Woodward. Community need. Ferndale's a decent-sized community. We have 0 drive-through car washes, and I think that this would serve our community. I hear a lot of pushback from the local residents, kind of a NIMBY thing here. I don't believe that you can buy a house right on the edge of Woodward with a reasonable expectation of quiet and lack of fumes. It's Highway 1. I was pleased to hear that they have what they call quiet doors, so that I'm not personally worried about the noise, as I will be adjacent to that. I am worried about many empty buildings along Woodward, and I've watched all of them and kind of like grow over the years, the number of empty buildings, and this is one of the first decent-sized constructions I've seen in a while. And I think that a bunch of empty buildings signals that Ferndale is closed for business. There's 3 car dealerships along Woodward, and I think they'd all benefit from having a car wash. Because they're going to be constantly washing their new cars as they show them. And in the 30 years I've lived here, I've probably sent about between $10,000 and $15,000 to Royal Oak, having cars washed out there. There's nothing nearby. Jack's Car Wash, by the way, I heard mentioned is $32 a crack to get your car washed. That's not reasonable. $9. Well, yeah. I'm talking about a drive-through car wash, not one where you stand there and spray it yourself.
All right. You're right. Appreciate it. As I mentioned before, we will have respectful comment as everyone has their voice and has the right to speak their opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. I know I've been a little bit one of those, but I'm passionate about this. So good evening, Commissioner members. My name is Nikisha Beckford. I've been a proud resident of College Street for almost a decade. I live at 333 College Street. My daughter loves to call it the 3 3s. I'm here tonight to express my strong opposition to the proposed L Car Wash development at the end of my block. And let me be clear, this isn't about inconvenience. It is about safety, it is about livability, and it is about protecting the integrity of our neighborhood and of Ferndale. Right? My street, since I have lived on my street, I have heard and have been a part of numerous accidents, dogs being killed because of people coming careening down that street so fast. We are already a thoroughfare from Woodward to Paxton and Hilton. They've already had to install a speed bump to try to reduce some of that, and it still has not reduced it. When you are talking about bringing a large commercial entity to the end of that street, you are begging for more accidents and for reduced safety of our children and of the residents there. It's full of a community that kids want to play. We are at the end of our block is the dog park, so you have lots of people walking their dogs constantly up and down College Street. These changes implemented because, like I said, of documented speeding and multiple accidents that have occurred right outside of our homes. And installing this high-volume, high-traffic commercial car wash undoes all of the progress that we have put in place to keep our neighborhoods safe. We're not just talking about the increased traffic, noise pollution, and bright lighting that the car wash will bring themselves, but as we said, the exhaust of all of the cars that they're expecting to bring, the noise of all of the cars that are going to be coming. You're talking about the great July 3rd day. You know what happens on those days? Motorcycles, cars with their windows down, blasting music. It isn't just about your soundproof washing tunnel, okay? Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to keep it together here. I was like, this project in no way, shape, or form fits the character of our neighborhood, and frankly, it puts our health, our safety, and our welfare at risk. We are not asking for perfection. We're asking for protection, for stability, for peace and quiet in the homes that we have built our lives in. People have said a decade, 15 plus, 30 plus years that people are there. Tracy, how long have you lived? Thank you. So please listen to the people who lived here. None of us asked for this. None of us asked for this. We would like to be able to walk the streets every day, and we deserve better than Florida corporate car wash disrupting our quality of life. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikisha.
Dominic Scapitici, 840 La Prairie. If the owner of the property is here, I would just like to mention, if you have $10 million to spend on this development, why did you not spend it in the last 5 years or 3 years actually maintaining the site? Instead of leaving it up to the residents to contact the city to get the lawn mowed, the trash picked up. So what this clearly demonstrates is you're not a neighbor, you're a predator developer. We are a community of neighbors. But that said, I'll get down to the nitty-gritty. Plan Ferndale, this development does not support Plan Ferndale. Page 52 of Plan Ferndale, improve the pedestrian landscape. Having that turn on a college, again, it will back up traffic. It makes it a hindrance for pedestrians. We spent a lot of time and money in this city adding those bike lanes on Woodward. When those bike lanes went up, those no right turn signs went up, and now we're working to make this worse? So it does not support page 52 of Plan Ferndale. Page 48 of Plan Ferndale clearly would not strengthen the walkable neighborhood. This again will not support a walkable neighborhood, as we heard from our younger residents here. They're going to be walking. Kids walk to school, kids walk to the dog park, kids walk to the playground. Little Ghost, oh yeah, that's right there. We're making a cluster. Page 19 of Plan Ferndale. This is inconsistent with our Ferndale's key goals regarding environmental impact. Permitting such a business as a new build would not limit the environmental impacts of building and construction by promoting adaptive reuse. I mean, there's more. I'm going to say a couple things. That wall, that 6-foot wall, I live next to an apartment building and parking lot with a 6-foot wall. I chose to move there. And I will say a 6-foot wall does not prohibit noise. It does not prohibit litter. It does not prohibit light pollution. They recently redid the lights on that apartment building, and I'm assuming, Ferndale, that they have those directions down. I know my backyard now lights up. And that will bring me to a little point. We talk a lot about environmental impacts in this city and green and sustainable, and all this light pollution, it affects something called moths. We are in an ecological crisis right now where our insect populations are plummeting. These kind of lights inhibit moth populations, which are important to pollination, just like our native bees. So I want to throw that out there from environmental standpoint. Thank you.
Dominic.
My name is Kim Covell. I rent the upper flat at 205 College Street in Ferndale, which is directly behind the Honey Baked Ham. I've lived here for 3 years, and when I walk out my front door, I am looking directly at the old Tim Hortons site. I would essentially live across the street from where all the traffic from El Car Wash, I believe, will exit, and my neighbors have done a wonderful job expressing their concerns about that so far. I am strongly opposed. I believe this proposal fails the city's special land use criteria. It would hurt nearby homes and businesses. It doesn't fit the neighborhood character. It threatens public health, safety, and welfare. And as the gentleman before me mentioned, it conflicts with Plan Ferndale, which calls for walkability and less car-centric development. The design is apparently glazed but garish, and the plan allows at least somewhere in the neighborhood of 33 cars stacked on site right next to our homes, creating noise, traffic, and safety problems for pedestrians and bikers on Woodward and for residents on College and University. My landlord, Dawn Schluter, isn't here tonight, but she has expressed concerns raised in earlier conversations that were at the Methodist Church a couple of years ago. My downstairs neighbor is actually here as well. I love Ferndale, and I want to stay right where I am. A large, loud, street-clogging car wash is not a neighbor I want. Please deny this. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
Good evening, everyone. My name is John Ordoliva. I live at 775 La Prairie. I am a proud Ferndale resident for 27 years. I own my own home there. For the past 16 years, I've worked in Birmingham. So every morning, I get up, I take a left onto La Prairie, head up towards Marshall. And because I don't want to wait for the light at the Enterprise in Woodward over there by the Enterprise store, I sometimes go up to Hazelhurst and I take a right. And at Hazelhurst, which goes into Woodward, for the past 5 years, I've looked at a vacant building on the right, which Eden used to be Doug's Body Shop, and I was staring at a vacant Subway store. And to the left of that, a vacant Tim Hortons. I run every morning, and I go up and down Woodward on the bike lanes, and I've seen rats the size of VW bugs coming out of the trash for the Tim Hortons in the back. I'm the one who called when there was graffiti on the side of Tim Hortons, and I'm sick and tired of looking at it. I feel like I'm living in bizarro world when the city and the residents would oppose a company that put on a fantastic presentation. I'm a real estate attorney for 32 years. I know how long it takes to put together a proposal like this. And I'm being asked to pay more for my taxes with these proposals on the ballot. And we are rejecting a company that's willing to invest in our community and support the tax base and give us revenue for city services that are already strapped. I'm sick and tired of it. And a couple other things. I heard people say that they want a better quality of life than a car wash coming in. Well, my definition of a better quality of life differs. I respectfully disagree. I don't want to look at a vacant building for at least 5 years. I also heard that it would be loud, but it can't be any louder than the nightly drag racing that I hear on La Prairie, and I'm a quarter mile away from there. So, I mean, I think that's balderdash, I really do, that we'd hear the engines revving. We hear that every night, folks. I heard people talking about the garish color schemes, but it can't be any worse than the pop palaces that we're looking with the lights that are strung up and down, and the garish color schemes for these pop palaces that now dot our neighborhoods and our city. So again, I support this wholeheartedly. I'm tired of going to Jack's on Woodward and Royal Oak and giving Royal Oak and Jack's my tax supporting their tax base when we could be doing this here in Ferndale. Thank you very much. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you, John.
Hi, I'm Brenda Pomeroy. I live at 334 East Hazelhurst Street. That's not working very well. My husband and I moved into our home on East Hazelhurst in September of 2007. We loved our neighbors, the diversity of the community, the wide range of family-owned businesses and restaurants, the overall funky artistic vibe of the town. We used to say that the oaking of Ferndale would be a tragedy. By this, I mean the influx of numerous and expensive restaurants, the demolition of modest, affordable older homes to erect McMansions, and a stampede of national chain retail businesses. Exactly what has happened in Royal Oak, Birmingham, and similar surrounding communities. Fast forward 18 years and we have a slippery slope. Restaurant turnover, homes at price points that young people starting families can't afford, and this monstrosity of a car wash. I don't want to seem like the crazy old lady on the front lawn shaking her fists at progress, but I feel I must, so here I am. This car wash, if allowed to proceed, will be noisy, disruptive, and an ugly addition to our community. The increased traffic will be hazardous. I'm concerned for the safety of the cyclists using the bike lanes in front of it. Bike lanes for which our community paid a lot of money to make our town bike-friendly and to de-emphasize cars. The safety of pedestrians on that portion of the sidewalk will be at stake as well. Mostly, I despair for the health and tranquility of my friends who live directly across and behind the proposed car wash. Friends who are now seriously considering their next steps. Must they sell their homes and relocate somewhere else to achieve a peaceful life they moved here for? Will they be able to sell it all because they have a noise and light pollution nuisance in their backyard? Don't get me started on what may happen to their property values. There are so many concerns, and I've only brought up a few, but please listen to the community and all their concerns. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Brenda.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jeremy Sanborn. I live at 320 College Street. I work from home. We have one car. It gets washed when it rains because never in my 15 years of living on College Street have I said we need another car wash in this area. I got nothing for these guys in the back other than to say they'd never put it at the end of their street. I want to talk to you guys about traffic specifically. You have nothing to do with this, I take it, but the train that sits at rush hour and blocks 9 Mile every single day has turned my street into the default for people headed north on Woodward because we're the last flight south of 9 Mile. And the amount of cars speeding down my street, even after the speed hump, I have to tell you, okay? And these children who so eloquently spoke earlier, I literally watched them ride their bikes up and down the middle of the street. I posted on Facebook a month ago, nothing to do with this meeting at all, just something I posted to be funny. I'm anti-death penalty except for people who speed in subdivisions. I see it every single day on my porch on that street. That's all I got. It's just about safety. It really is for these kids. I don't care about what the traffic on Woodward this guy keeps talking about. I do not care. I would also say I worked at Jack's Car Wash when I was 16. It was my first job. It sucked.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Good evening, Ross Hoekstra, 146 University Street. I think there's just really two very simple ways in which this application does not fulfill the requirements for a special land use approval. And I think it's really important that we focus on the wonderful staff report that has been prepared that outlines all the ways in which it fails to meet the criteria for special land use. The two that I want to point out mostly are it does not complement and it is not harmonious with this neighborhood. You look at that car wash, it looks exactly like every other L car wash in Florida. They have done nothing to try and merge their brand with this city or what we're about. So to me, it's not harmonious in any way, shape, or form. On that simple standard, it really fails. I think the second really important one is it makes the site more auto-oriented and less pedestrian-oriented. If you were to even think about Tim Hortons when it was functioning, there's a front door, there was an actual pedestrian entrance. This has no pedestrian entrance. I've got a car wash to look at. They say they have a mixed-use component. I can't get to it from the street. And on that mixed-use component, pretty interesting to hear corporate headquarters being listed as a use when that has never come up. We've been to every informational meeting with this group. It really feels like a token being thrown out to try and say that this is mixed use. I would urge you to look at the parking lot across the alley. 4 spaces are required for the car wash itself. there are only 5 spaces for the office. Now, that's what's required. They're providing what's required, but that'll tell you how many people are actually going to be working there on a daily basis. It's not a significant impact. It's not the right type of mixed use. And quite honestly, if this car wash was so invested in providing us with a mixed use product, you could have put a 2-story mixed use building in front of a car wash. There are so many other designs that potentially could have been a better nod to the pedestrian experience and reduced sort of an auto-centric proposal that we have in front of us. Finally, I want to talk about long-term viability. I'm an architect. The skinniness of which this building is laid out and the particular way that the site circulation is laid out, this is a 50-year decision that you have on your hands. Even if this car wash goes away in 20 years, there's no way to adaptively reuse what's been proposed here. So you vote this meets special land use. This is a car wash for the next 50 years, if not longer. And that's the sort of time horizon we have to look at. And finally, I want to point across Woodward. There's a beautiful example of adaptive reuse, a change in occupancy, a pedestrian-oriented restaurant. That's the example of what we want to do in this city. It's what all of these residents support, even though it has all kinds of extra traffic. Like, these are the types of developments that we are interested in Ferndale, not this car wash. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Miles Talbot. I live at 374 College Street. And I got my CPA license in 2009. I have about as good of an understanding of the city's finances as you can without actually looking at the books themselves. So I am going to be coming down. I'm probably the only one on my street on the side of rationality and against the side of hypocrisy and selfishness on this one. Unfortunately, we have a very rough situation with what we have now. It's a blight. The tax base we have on it pretty much can't go up because, unfortunately, we can't really charge more for something that doesn't get any revenue. If we had a nice car wash there, we could raise the taxes on these nice people year after year after year. And we wouldn't have to pay for the deficit that we're getting now from the non-Tim Hortons out of our own pockets. As far as the nuisance part of things, we're talking about 61 decibels. Unbeknownst to all my other neighbors, I've been riding my unicycle, the various different ones, up and down College, playing my music at 73.6 decibels, which is 15, yeah. My time, right? So that's 15 times louder than what you got on the car wash. 15 times louder, just so you know, 15 times louder. So just saying, you're already dealing with something 15 times louder than what you got going on with this car wash. So there's 630 people that signed this. Stop taking my time. It's 630 people that signed this petition. There's 19,000 people that live in Ferndale, okay? It's time to think about the city as a whole, the community as a whole. This is an excellent plan. This plan is good for the community. It's good for our tax base. And if you're just thinking about yourselves, and you yourself bought a home right by the loudest thoroughfare in southeastern Michigan, the most traffic-filled thoroughfare in southeastern Michigan, and you don't want something that's going to introduce a bit of noise and a bit of traffic, it seems maybe you should look at yourself a bit. That's all I would like to say. Thank you.
That was personal. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Miles.
My name is Sharon Hinman. I'm at 142 Academy. I think I have seniority here. I've been here for 40 years. I have lived through jam sound, and I don't know if many of you know that, but that was a nightmare. This car wash is going to be the same. The only solution I got from jam sound from the city was to grant them extended hours till midnight. And they were testing car stereos, the ones that rattle your windows. Can you imagine what this is going to be like when these cars are stacked up, 30? And they all have their radios blasting, like the gentleman in front of me, wanting to listen to it real loud. And then they're going to what? Loiter? They're going to come in the alley and the parking lot beside my place in the empty Rite Aid, and they're going to blast their radios there. Am I going to get any help? I don't think so. History has told me the city doesn't do enough about the noise, about the traffic. It's all about the taxes. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon.
My name's Randy Bushman. I live at 220 University. My first apartment was in Ferndale in 2005. My rent was $375 a month. It was off Bennett. And then I moved into our house on University in 2006, where I've been ever since. I don't think that there's a whole lot I can say that hasn't already been said. And there's a lot of stuff that, I mean, I think I'm pretty smart and I want to try and convince you guys, but I know there's a lot of information that's out of my realm of expertise that we have put trust in you to be able to do. And I think these were great salesmen. My dad is a salesman. I'm a salesman to prosecutors and attorneys, and they're good. They're good, and they say really good stuff. And I don't know what all the requirements are, and I'm sure there's accountability you guys have. I'm sure there's accountability. I don't know if these guys can be bullies, have legal, repercussions if you turn them down. I don't know all that stuff, but I can say that I had a kid 5.5 years ago, and my perception of welcoming this into my street is very different. I didn't think I was ever going to have a kid. I have one. He is a turd. He's 5.5. He gets mad. He runs all the way down University. I think he's gotten good. He doesn't go into that alley behind like what's now the Caribou, but it really does terrify me to have this put there. And I don't have like I'm not discriminating. I don't have like a discriminating issue with car washes. I mean, I have a personal bias, sure. I'm kind of with the guy who like lets the car wash, the rain do it, although I have gone through some car washes. But I don't see the point in putting it on our street when it has to do with the potential safety that everybody is talking about. And I don't even think about like these cars and the exhausts. And those are things I would not even have thought about before I had a kid, and these stupid forest fires I have to think about all the time now. I went up north when it was like 152, alarm levels, sleeping in a tent, and we had headaches like the rest of the day. And these are things we just have to think about. I went to our car wash did their due diligence for that mandating alert to residents within the designated proximity. I went to that meeting. There wasn't even capacity to sit. It was standing. We were out the door. And we said, we don't want a car wash here for all of these reasons. Really, it's really just for safety and concern. Like, I really think that's the motives for not wanting it here. I don't care about like the gaudy stuff. Like that's petty. I don't care about that. I've seen lots of changes come in through Ferndale, but I do have concern about the safety, and I think that should take priority. I don't care about all the studies they did. They're not responsible when somebody gets hit by a car. They're not. And I don't know how accountability is even met after we allow something like this in, because that's out of my realm of expertise, but I don't think there's a lot of accountability. I don't have faith in it. I don't.
Thank you, Randy.
Hi, my name is Simon Cohen. I live on Marshall near the high school. I am here to represent the Coalition of Ferndale residents who like bad stuff, and I would like to strongly encourage the Commission to recommend granting the permit. This permit will be another in our country's great history of selling public assets out from the citizens who use them. These assets include clean air, quiet and safe neighborhoods, and a lack of companies sucking money out of our community and sending it to various rich speculators who don't live in the area. Me and my fellow Ferndalians who like stupid stuff would like to express that we don't care about any of that, and we actually love soulless, what seems like still fictitious companies that try and run around municipal governments changing codes. And we believe that a quick buck is more important than a municipal commission listening to any single citizen or large group of citizens, except for me, because I am in favor of it. Please recommend the permit to City Council to support bad government, bad neighborhoods, and evil deeds. Thank you.
Hi, My name is Deanne Uxall. I live at 954 West Marshall Street near the high school. I would like to encourage the Planning Commission to deny the special land use request for El Car Wash. In this particular case, I am fortunate enough I live probably a half mile from the proposed site. I'm fortunate enough to not have to worry about my personal property values or the safety of my family, but I feel deeply for my neighbors. And I moved to Ferndale 5 years ago, specifically for the walkability of the city. I was excited to see the master plan that came out and was approved shortly after I moved here, and the people-focused development approach. As to the special land use criteria, I think it's pretty clear that it's not harmonious with the local community. Two of the former fast food restaurants that are blighted and have been mentioned as such in the area have been redeveloped, and they've been redeveloped into a Caribou Coffee with a walk-up window and Little Ghost. And now to round out the neighborhood, I don't think that a large automated car wash is the appropriate business. Not to mention, as to not being harmonious with the neighborhood, it seems like a lot of the neighbors don't want them there and would not like that in their neighborhood. It's also not aligned with the master plan. It doesn't align with either the master plan or the Woodward Avenue corridor plan. One thing I heard from the El Car Wash team is there's already car-centric development on Woodward, so this is fine. That said, on the Ferndale Master Plan, page 103, it outlines the redevelopment plan and calls out the Woodward corridor as a catalyst zone. If we're calling the Woodward corridor a catalyst zone, I don't think it's already like this, so we should keep doing it, is particularly good rationale. Granting a grandfathered-in special land use request to an automated car wash in a transit-oriented development zone does not align with the priorities of the master plan that I was so excited to see when I moved here. When it comes to mixed-use development, I do think we can do a little bit better than a car wash with a car wash corporate office upstairs. Thank you.
Fritz Tompkins, 323 College Street. Got a 3-year-old stepdaughter. One word, night games. I would not be the person I am today without being able to go out and play with my neighbors as a kid. And the fact that this is going to be open to 9 p.m., if it goes through, is ridiculous to me. I have 2 dogs as well, and I'm always trying to make sure I'm being responsible, but people slip up every once in a while. Perhaps a kid or 2 walks into the street. I don't know. But also I'll say 3 out of the 4 people in favor, except for that one gentleman just a minute ago, they're accountants, ex-real estate guys. They remind me of the bad guy from Jurassic Park, the scum-sucking lawyer. They're all wearing collared shirts tucked into slacks. Like, that's not the vibe in Ferndale. We want to walk around. We want to high-five each other. We want to be a community.
Please keep comments to the application and not to the...
Peak is going to be a car every 2 minutes. If they're open for 10 hours, that's 300 cars a day if they're max capacity. Even if it's 100 cars a day, it's a real big safety hazard for people who have kids and dogs and want to just generally walk around. I yield my time.
Hello, thank you for having us. This has been fun to listen to everybody, for and against it. My name is Nate Rivard. I live at 250 College Street. I am 5 houses away from the proposed site. Everybody's talked about what I had, walkability, bikeability. One of the things that I would like to add is the decibels we are kind of protected from Woodward by the buildings, but this building will be like cars in our friend's backyard. And the building is not being a buffer from Woodward. Also, the fact that the intersection at College and Woodward, now that alley, I always warn my kids to look down that alley for somebody coming down fast. My son's been hit on the sidewalk riding his bike, so we go in the street to avoid driveways, and now we've got a nice big driveway at the end of our street, another one to watch out for. Peak times are also during school hours. Weather permitting, we bike to and from school. That'll make it hard. And then lastly, it's an automated place, so my kids can't even get a job there. So thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for consideration and all your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you, Nate.
Hello, my name is John Hughes, and I live at 340 College with my wife Christine Paul behind me. I don't want to belabor every safety point that's been raised so far, but as a couple that's expecting our first child, we're also quite concerned regarding anything that's going to be going down our street, including at increased rates of speed. As other people have noted, the addition of the speed hump in the middle of College does not actually impede the additional, the speed at which people travel. I can expect that a person frustrated at the stack up at the intersection of Woodward and College might be just as likely to press their accelerator to get around and move much faster down our street. Another point I would raise too that I think my neighbor Nate brought up is, yes, his kid's not going to get a job there at an automated car wash. They simply do not provide a great deal of opportunities for employment. While there may be a couple of people working upstairs at times, that's just not going to provide a lot of economic development and activity for this community. What might, and I note that there are some fans of it, I think, at the table here, is an Arby's. And I bring that up, obviously, because there are preferable land uses to a car wash that everyone in this room, perhaps not everyone in this room, but many in this room would vastly prefer and would not raise a lot of protest to. So with that, I hope that you will support the motion to deny the land use permit.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Jenny Beaker. I'll say 300 East 9 Mile since I am the Executive Director of Downtown Ferndale. I'm also a 12-year resident as well as an avid cyclist around town. I'd like to thank the team behind this proposal for recognizing the potential in downtown Ferndale. I think we all agree we're a vibrant and engaged community. We have a lot of opportunity for development, but I don't believe that this is the appropriate project for this site. I'll note that this site is located within our downtown development boundaries. So 2,500 feet is approximately Allen and 9 Mile. So this is really apparent how close this is to our core downtown district. More than half of it would be within our TIF, which is our tax increment financing district, which is dependent on property values and their occupancy with commercial space, retail, dining, and entertainment. So when I think about recruiting businesses, we look for complements to our existing businesses downtown. As we look to expand our downtown economy, I feel this would be a very limiting, if not debilitating factor in that. I appreciate the inclusion of office space, but have to acknowledge that it's going to be difficult for us to fill in commercial density next to a car wash site. So it limits economic viability and sustainability. According to criterion A, this negatively affects the desirability and economic viability of multiple businesses within that 2,500 feet. Downtown Ferndale is nationally recognized. We're well known for bikeability and walkability. We've invested heavily in these areas, and it sets our community apart from others on the Woodward corridor. So having something that is so specifically auto-centric is really contrary to these efforts. I'm impressed with the technical specifications from the developers, and I can see, but unfortunately I cannot see an alternate use for this site once it's converted to a car wash. So according to criterion B, this is not harmonious with the existing nor intended character of our charming, family-friendly, active downtown. So for all the reasons I think other community members, most other community members have already outlined, I don't see that this proposal enhances the public safety, welfare, overall economic benefit of Ferndale. And I'd like to thank the developers, though, for their thoughtfulness and their efforts in accommodating requests so far. Your attention to improve the car wash model is admirable, but I just don't believe it belongs in downtown Ferndale. I hope that we will see more cooperative, community-centric, and human-centric proposals for this site in the future.
Good evening. My name is Matt Spradling. I live at 160 University Street, 4 houses down from the Tim Hortons currently. One of my joys of my home is sitting on my front porch. It's very quiet, it's very serene. They brought up the fact that the noise is going to be equal to what they found at 10 a.m. I'd like to quote Tom Petty. He said, yeah, she could hear the cars rolling out of the 411, like waves crashing on the beach. That is a much different noise than the constant noise that we're going to have, which is just, I consider bringing my leaf blower here and holding it, just because that is more equivalent to what we're going to experience rather than what we currently have. So, everyone else, thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
I had 50 seconds left, if I could just use the rest of my time.
Hey.
Would that please the board? I believe the gentleman before me mentioned my outfit. I free cycled this whole outfit, and I lived next to a car wash.
I'm sorry, only if you're going to address, I
enough,
apologize
yeah.
that someone had made
yeah.
comments, but only if you address the application.
Certainly. I just wanted to make the point that I lived next to a car wash for 2 years straight before I moved back to 374 College Street with 0 issues. And not only that, but when it comes down to it, the reason that I'm here today is because I believe in this. What I did all day was helping out the homeless, which I think at the end of the day is something that people in Ferndale believe in community. Like the people at 8 and Woodward with signs need our help. So when it comes down to it, I really believe that this is good for our community. I'm not saying that because I'm a CPA or because it's all about numbers. I think it's actually what we need to be doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miles.
Hi. Eddie Sabatini, 1003 Pearson Street. I live far, far away from this, but just here supporting neighbors. I also believe that when we are talking about developing in Ferndale, we need to consider that each neighborhood has its own unique challenges. And I really love that the residents are coming out and expressing those, what those challenges are and what their hopes are for their families. I heard something mentioned that made me want to come up and speak, and I'm paraphrasing it, but it said something about how the master plan has this lofty goal of being more pedestrian-friendly or whatever. I think we should be trying to do lofty things, right? Like, we should, just because it's difficult to create a more a less auto-centric society doesn't mean we shouldn't be trying to do it. That's it. I just wanted to end on something positive. I think it's awesome that all these people are coming to be engaged, and just to remind you guys that it's your civic duty to support the leader, or support the residents and listen to them. So thank you for doing so. And yeah, I don't envy your task right now.
Thank you, Eddie.
My name is James Bergen. I live at 205 University Street. I've lived there since 2011, and I am 16 years sober. And the reason I tell you that story is that back in my early days, my mother used to say, one day if you get your life right, you can get a little house in Ferndale. And I used to say, you're crazy, right? I grew up in Grosse Pointe, and I thought Ferndale was just not a place for me. Well, I've lived there with my husband I've lived there since 2011. My husband and I have lived there since 2023. And my mother, who just died, she was 89 years old. Every Christmas time, she would only buy gifts from things that are made in Michigan. She would only buy things because she wanted to support the local communities. This does not support the local community. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Is there anyone else who would like to speak for the public hearing?
Hi, I'll be quick. I live at 203 College Street, so I'm very close to the new development.
Your name, sir?
I just want to reiterate.
Sorry, your name, sir?
Tom Markevich. I'm fairly new to the neighborhood as well. So I just want to reiterate some of the points that were raised about, the reduced safety for children, pedestrians, and cyclists. increased sound and light pollution. The only other thing that I thought maybe to bring up is what the extra water might do on the sewage system if we've had numerous backups in the neighborhood, and whether that's been considered in the engineering, design. So I appreciate everybody coming here to speak, and I'll yield the floor.
Thank you, Tom.
Good evening, everybody. Andy Uzzle here, 280 College Street. I don't want to reiterate everything that's already been said, but know that as a passionate Ferndalean, I fully support my community and am vehemently against this in our neighborhood. We watch people speed down our street. I've got a dog, my partner and I, we are good friends with our neighbors. We do community events together. This does not align with what is intended for the character of our neighborhood, for what we feel is the eccentric part of Ferndale, the beauty of what brought us, my partner and I, to Ferndale. But two things I want to mention is the city has put a lot of money into Woodward for bikeability, walkability. Also down our street, we've got the dog park. We've got the city who has put a lot of money into Wilson Park that I don't think people have really brought up today because we've got so much else going on. But those two, not to mention the fact that we've got the composting at the end of our street as well. We are a thoroughfare, as has been mentioned, on College Street. We get a lot of traffic already, but with the walkability of Woodward, with the improvements to Wilson Park, we already are attracting more people. Rightly so. We want people in our neighborhood, but we want people to be there to enjoy our neighborhood, not to just expressly go through a car wash on their way to work, on their way home, to be part of our community, not just to use our community. So, thank you.
Hi, Sarah Cricket, 1003 Pearson Street. Sorry. When more people show up to a city planning commission meeting than you've ever seen, I hope you're paying attention. This community does not want this car wash. That's all. Mary Fredericks, 354 University, 40 years. I've seen a lot happen on University in the 40 years I've lived there. And I wasn't going to get up here because everyone has already said what I feel. And I agree with everyone who's sitting here except for those who are for this car wash. I'm against it. And as far as University goes, we only have parking on one side of that street. University has the dog park, they have the Wilson Park, they have these new homes. A lot of kids in these homes now, 3 of them right across the street from me. Play in the street, they play right there at the park, because the park's almost in their backyard. And it is not safe. And I've complained about the speed limit because the cars just shoot through there. At one time, it used to be a fire route. And I think people feel the same way, that they can just fly right down University because they can only park on one side of the street. So yes, it is a safety measure for the residents there. And yes, there is people walking all the time. We have, so with the dog park and with the park on the corner, I mean, it's great. It's great to see the residents like they are now. And I would like to continue to see that. So where this car wash, where it looks like it should be in Las Vegas, I mean, come on now. Put it somewhere else. You know, we don't need it. You want to wash your car? You want more, you probably would want more for the water department so we could all wash it and pay you more, you know? So, I mean, come on, let's see it somewhere else. I'm not against the car wash. I'm just against it where they want to put this.
Paul Collum, 64 East Breckenridge. I just want to point out and make sure that everybody knows this. This is not an economic benefit to this community. There's not a lot of jobs. It's fully automated. They also know this, and they admit it, because in the special land use application, under economic benefit, they list that they would provide construction jobs. And nothing else about any benefits they would bring to this community. The other thing is, I just want this community to know that the intention is to be here for a long time for this car wash. L Car Wash operates on a triple net lease proposal, and when they sell these, the span of the proposal is 20 years. So when someone buys it, they have a lease agreement for 20 years. I just want to make the community aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Anyone else?
We'll add on the dais is 20 letters of opposition from various people. The commission has been given a chance to review them. Additionally, the deadline to submit was 3 o'clock. Any received after that would be read into the record. And so we have 2 letters opposed to L Car Wash. One from Jeff Milo stating that it's going to make life miserable for surrounding residents and goes against the bike-friendly image we've been trying to build along Woodward. And one from Vernon Castle at 352 College says he is unable to make the meeting. He wants to make his opinion clear. Car wash close to residential area in such a pedestrian-friendly area will be a net negative for Ferndale. This raises many safety concerns. He is concerned about the way the business will impact the quality of life, and he does not believe a car wash in this location will contribute to the Ferndale plans for the future and will only become a thorn in our community's side moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing for 22230 Woodward Avenue at 9 p.m. All right. So thank you, everyone, for your feedback. We appreciate you coming in and spending time with us this evening. And for those who have submitted their comments via email. We clearly have some existing issues with speed and traffic on College and University and surrounding neighborhood that sounds like we've attempted to solve some of these issues with speed humps. I encourage the city to continue to look for improvements to speed and traffic in this neighborhood, as is clearly an issue currently, and residents are expressing concern. They do not want to enhance or increase those concerns. I do have a few questions for our applicant based on our public feedback. Good to address. First is, would you like to continue with your application?
Yes, we would. Thank you.
I thought I might as well ask, just 'cause it's getting late. All right, in all seriousness, so there's a couple questions that I thought you might be able to address. And so you spoke to your safety assessment by MDOT and your engineer, And many residents talked about the do not turn right sign onto College and the stacking issues that can create. So how did that factor into your analysis and MDOT's conclusion of the site? If it had been.
I mean, I think there's a lot of questions in that question. So can I try to address them, one at a time and do it to the best of my abilities, if that's okay? And then if the chair permits me, I'd like to also maybe address a few of the other items that were brought up.
Sure, if you want to make a general statement before you address my question, that's fine.
Okay, terrific. Thank you very much for the opportunity to do so. I'm going to go in this general statement in no specific order, if that's okay. I was trying to take as many notes and hopefully that I could address these questions as easily as possible. And I'm hopeful that I could also invite up Samantha Bergner with L Car Wash, who's here to address some of the specific operational issues. The last note I took was regarding the triple net lease that was brought up. L Car Wash owns this real estate. L Car Wash is, different than most car wash firms. We actually own the majority of our real estate and own the majority of our real estate on our balance sheet. It's important for us to keep the curb appeal. It's important for us to be part of the community, even though there may be a differing opinion about that. And we like to keep our properties looking A+ and being part of the community. Regarding community feedback and what we try to do in the community, we support local charities. We support local football teams. That's what we do. We're the official car wash of the Clawson Mavericks, for an example. We don't have a car wash in Clawson, but we're around Clawson. We support Clawson Mavericks. Forgotten Harvest. That's a charity that we're involved with. That's a charity that we're involved with as well. In our operations in Florida, we just donated $150,000 to the Baptist hospital system. So I just want to pass out some of the things that we do. There will be employees at this location. We're going to have four to six employees at any given moment at the location that we're manning it and making sure that we're providing the best customer service to the people that are there. With respects to some of the considerations that were brought up on traffic concerns, if you look at existing uses Caribou Coffee was approved. Caribou Coffee is a drive-through restaurant. Caribou Coffee would create more traffic than a car wash. That's the reality of it. So we have a traffic. So drive-throughs do create more traffic than car washes, and there are standards that are provided that would also prove that out. So that's number one. With respect to the 35 stacking lanes that we're showing, one of the concerns that's brought up on car washes, and we hear in other presentations, is that you're going to stack outside of your property. You're going to stack outside into College Street. You're going to stack outside into Woodward Avenue. The reason we're showing all these stacking is to take away that concern that we're going to need additional land outside of our property lines. That's the reason we have so much stacking. I don't believe we're ever going to use all that stacking. We want to be respectful and supportive of the community to show that we're not going to stack outside of that. Our corporate offices in Florida are right above a car wash. Exactly what we're proposing in Ferndale. So if you go to Doral, Florida, and look for our corporate office, it's right above a car wash, and that's how we have it as well. With respect to, I want to talk about the chemicals and the smells for a second. So I'm going to invite Samantha Bergner to address those two items.
Good evening. My name is Samantha Bergner. I lead the development and construction for El Car Wash. Just want to say appreciate your time and the time of the community tonight for us to present our proposal here, and appreciate the team and the city for their partnership as we work through options for this site. So a little bit about the operations and the chemicals. Before I go into that, I want to just give you guys a little bit of feedback on who is the company. We've heard a lot about the site, a lot about the plan, and just wanted to give you guys a little bit of information about who we are as a company. We value our employees, we value our community. We asked our employees to describe our operations in one word, and they chose family. So when we go into a community, we look at opportunities to partner with them. We have takeover days where we allow local fundraisers to come in and utilize our facilities where we get back 50% of what we make that day to the fundraiser. This helps in a sustainable effort as well as connecting back with the community. So those are just a few pieces that I wanted to provide the board. and the commission that you have not heard tonight, and just wanted to make sure that we were able to communicate that on behalf of our business. As it relates to the chemicals, we only store about 2 gallons of chemicals, more specific chemicals on site. There is not more stored in that nature and loose chemicals within our equipment room. We also use a very small amount of chemicals due to the quality of equipment we are putting in our tunnels. You go to car washes around Michigan and you see old facilities with old machinery that does not properly function. We come in here, we maintain our facilities while also implementing the top-notch quality of equipment, which allows us to use less chemicals. The comments about lights flashing at night, we actually do not motivate windows in our tunnel. Here we have the transparency element on the street, but we'll still be shielding some level of that light to not output it outside of our tunnel. So the element of flashing lights at night, I'm unsure how those can be visible as we do not allow windows and we have opaque doors that typically come down and are locked at night. The smell of chemicals, I would also want to hear more information about that, and I'm open to hearing more information about that with those who've experienced it. We have a water recycling system, we have a reclaim system that we maintain multiple times a week to make sure that there is no backup, to make sure that there is no smell. So if there is a problem that the community has identified, I urge you to please let us know. Our operations group monitors this, manages local vendors to help us maintain our sites. Thank you for your time. I appreciate your consideration tonight.
Hopefully address some of the comments. And I appreciate, the representative from downtown Ferndale. I do think, by having us join the community, I do think it is a positive indication. We think having any business wanting to invest $10 million is a positive indication. But the specific question the chair had, I'd like to have Mitch Harvey address that from Stonefield Engineering, if that's okay.
Yes, thank you.
So part of the traffic analysis, what we can measure, what we can analyze is the delay of an intersection. And really, once you hit that level surface of F, that's when you have a significant delay and cars are more likely to make unsafe movements, quick movements that are not conducive to normal traffic patterns. So that's kind of where that rating system comes into place. So the traffic study that was submitted and approved by MDOT showed this driveway configuration, and it analyzed the intersections at College, Woodward, and then the intersections within our site onto College and Woodward. And really what the results of that study were is there is a very, very minor increase in delay. Like we're talking 1 second per vehicle, 0.8 seconds per vehicle, an extremely small amount of increase in delay. And that's how that safety aspect is analyzed from a traffic engineering standpoint. So it's based on that delay and keeping that delay from going to that level of F where drivers will make unsafe moves, and all our intersections have been confirmed they'll still operate at a level above that level F. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you. I'm failing to remember the name of the traffic engineering book, but that provides
IT trip generation?
Yes, thank you. And can you talk about the IT trip generation between a drive-through like coffee shop versus a car wash? Is that where you get the information, how you stated that a car wash would be less trips than a drive-through car wash?
I think what it is it's generation of trips. So a lot of times you'll have drive-through restaurants where people are going to get their morning coffee and then going home. People are going specifically to a Chipotle to get their burrito and going home. Really, a car wash is not a destination use. It's a pass-by use that a lot of people go on their way to work, on their way to shopping. So a lot of those trips for a car wash is already on the roadway network. And we're pulling trips off that roadway network, and that's what majority of our customers are, is people going to and from work, to and from shopping, to and from soccer practice, whatever that may be.
Generating any new traffic that doesn't exist.
So it's not generating new
Potentially,
traffic
yes.
along Woodward?
Yes.
But can you speak to then the trips on site then? I don't, and so I'm not sure if that manual addresses, or like, because I know that there's lots of car washes and drive-through coffee shops across the country. I know there's data behind, those number of trips on site so is there data to support that?
That's what
The
those
difference-
pass-by trips are, is bringing those trips on site that are
Yeah.
already on Woodward coming on site.
Okay, I'm sorry. So do you have the information then between a drive-through car wash and a coffee shop? Thank you.
I don't think I have that specific comparison with me.
Thank you. Okay.
And so we need the guide, we need the guide itself, right?
Yep. So IDE has a data source which has like different land uses. We have a trip generation for coffee shop as well. But that with the same size of the building, it takes into account like what is the size of the building. Same for the car wash. If it was a coffee shop, it would generate like more trips compared to a car wash during the peak hours.
So you are saying with the size of the existing building that was a
Coffee shop.
Yep. The trips that specific site would generate versus the car wash
Car wash
as
would
you
generate less
proposed,
trips, yep.
that based on the data that's provided.
Data that is provided ID, and it has a local data collected from different car washes and different data sources for the same type of land use. So, yep.
Okay, so based on that data, the car wash generates less trips than a coffee shop. They're too similar, I can't keep them separate.
Yep.
Thank you.
Sure, I also forgot to introduce Michael Darga with Giffords Webster. Michael's here to speak transportation or for any stormwater management or water capacity. I think he's prepared to answer any questions you may have.
Right, from the city side. Thank you. All right, thank you. And so also somebody stated that they were an architect and they were concerned about the design. And I know that we've changed the design since we saw it in 2023 based on some of the comments that we had at Planning Commission at that time, including the building siding and the driveways. And we had at that time stressed the concern about walkability, bikeability, particularly along Woodward with the bike lanes, but also with the community neighborhood street to the north of College Street. So can you talk to why you think that this design on site is the best to address those concerns and that you couldn't arrange it to be better suited for bikeability and walkability?
Yes, again, it's Jim Epping. What we did a few things is we brought the building to the sidewalk to, essentially help create or promote the continuation of that street wall that you have going up and down Woodward that really does make it a walkable community. What we know, what Ferndale has proven time and time again is by bringing the building closest to the road allows us to create that sidewalk area. The reality is this is not a walk-up use. And therefore we do not have doors fronting the street, but we have enhanced the street with landscaping. It protects the pedestrians from having any type of ongoing curb cuts. We've eliminated one curb cut on Woodward, which again promotes pedestrian safety, fewer cars coming in out of Woodward unexpectedly or even at any type of a driveway curb cut. So by bringing the building forward, providing the bike racks, the bike areas, the sitting areas, it certainly promotes the beauty of Woodward as well as the pedestrian activities there. And
I should have stated this, but I assume a drive-through coffee shop is very similar to a drive-through restaurant. I don't know if those are actually differentiated. But someone had mentioned at Arby's. I just wanted to kind of say that as a like auto-centric use, drive-through restaurant would be quite similar to traffic patterns of potentially a drive-through coffee shop.
yeah, and I think that's fair to say. There's coffee shops in our experience, really add more to that peak hour times. Again, as our traffic engineer mentioned, the peak hour is from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then again in the afternoon, 4 to 6. Coffee shops, particularly obviously in the morning, add to that. With car washes, we see that a little bit later, generally speaking, a little bit at the tail end of the peak hour, but then later into the day and throughout the day. And so, as Gabe mentioned, we have a great deal of stacking spaces, really just to ensure that we get all the cars in and accommodated and situated, as opposed to any type of overflow. Really what you'll see and what we see in all of our examples is that it's more of a slow trickle throughout the day as opposed to that peak hour distance. The other thing that I think is really interesting about El Car Wash and how well we operate is in terms of that stacking space. Gabe mentioned we'll have 4 to 6 employees at any given time. 1 or 2 of them really are just walking up and down throughout that area, enforcing good behavior, no noise, no revving engines. We really don't have any problems or anticipate problems with that. But it also helps, and I think most of us have experienced it with that sales process of what to expect when you get up to the kiosk. So although the kiosk is automated, there's still a great deal of human interaction, both to, promote our customer experience as well as the neighborhood experience.
And then I believe you mentioned this earlier, but I wanted to give a chance to discuss it again as somebody had, a couple people spoke of the concerns. We do sometimes have issues with flooding in the city and with sewage issues. I do believe that you stated that the site currently does not have underground detention and that you will be putting in underground detention to address the sewage systems. Maybe you can just elaborate on that a bit.
That's correct, but I'll have Mitch Harvey address that.
Yeah, so,
Or the holders of it, and over if it's been around for you've operated car washes, what have you seen as a use of your car washes once they're no longer used? Wash. Sure, I can answer that question and give you a quick history about the company. Happy to do, and we brought a presentation about the organization. It's happy to plug that in and get through it. The company was founded in 2007. A local entrepreneur named Jeff Karras decided he wanted to get into the car wash. He bought 4 cars in Miami, Florida, and he grew the company to 20 locations. In 2022, I had the opportunity to invest with a private equity firm of Warburg Pincus. We bought El Car Wash and the CEO of the business.
Side of myself investing in the business, also Barry Sanders is one of our local partners as well, and he's partners in the business as well. And the organization today, we have between 90 to 100 locations. The positive thing of having a large private equity firm, probably top 5 in the world, such as Warburg Pincus, is we have financial wherewithal and the ability to grow and sustain and continue to reinvest in all of our assets. Luckily, we've never had a location shut down, so we've never had to deal with the adaptive reuse question. My background is real estate development and brokerage. I've been in the Metro Detroit market my entire life, doing real estate development and real estate brokerage, and that was one of the they wanted to come to the state of Michigan. That's one of the reasons I got involved, and Mr. Sanders got involved as well. When I look at this building itself and say, we made a bad decision and the car wash didn't work out, I see a lot of opportunity. You know, number one, if you gutted out the tunnel and you said, you know, what do you have? And you have the second-story office space. I see one of the most unique office buildings, probably in the Metro Detroit market. You have 20-some-odd indoor parking spaces. You have some exterior outdoor parking spaces. You have some beautiful landscaping. You could probably reuse this building for an office building as well, is what it would be. That's the first thing that comes to mind. There could also be some, you know, opportunity for retail service, retail office. I own a lot of office buildings in the Metro Detroit market. I own almost 1 million square feet of office, and I think this would be very highly desirable. We've owned some other flex space buildings here in the Ferndale market as well. There's always a tremendous amount of demand for unique office buildings in the Ferndale market, and I think this would be an adaptive reuse as a possibility. I'm hopeful I never have to have that conversation, but office building with 20 indoor parking spaces would be incredibly in demand, is the reality of it. So that's the first thing that came to mind when that point was brought up earlier, when you mentioned it just now as well.
Anything else from you, Sam? Commissioner Michelli, sorry.
I would like to hear from our city engineering review team and get some of their insights on the traffic as well.
Good evening again, Mike Darga with Giffords Webster on behalf of the city. Any specific questions or?
I think maybe speak to the review and, you know, we heard a lot about the queuing and some of the issues that residents raised about the intersection at College and the turning, and maybe can you talk through that and maybe the process that you went through?
Sure. So, I mean, we did a review on top of MDOT's review. MDOT's review had been completed and approved prior to us getting it, so that kind of took care of that issue. We went through, though, the data that they provided, which did the trip generations, did the level of service, confirmed that those were reasonable and correct from a basic traffic engineering standpoint. Where we did question the plan a lot had to do with the stacking and the operations on site, where we pushed back and forth with working with the planning department here, but pushed back with the development team to make sure that the cars on site would not jam up. And there were changes made onto the site in response to our commentary, both on we wanted to model how did vehicles go between Woodward into the vacuum, into the stacking area before they would pay, come back out, those not jam up. And as an example, there was a change to like the door into the vacuum area. So we were trying to be very practical and make sure that the trucks or the vehicles that were modeled were appropriate. So we actually went back and forth a couple times with the development team to make sure that it didn't work just for small cars. That, I mean, at the end they modeled with an F-150 to make sure that the turns would work and the vehicles could get in and out. So that was one of the concessions and the changes that they made in response to our review. The right turn on the College was not there originally. That came out of the review. Was at least the attempt to reduce the possibility of traffic on the College was adding that no right turn to just keep the traffic going back to and from Woodward.
Any others? Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, to build on that, because we had, Chair Oster had brought up the no right turn, and that came up from community comments, and the curb cut is still there, so it's just signage preventing the right turn, or are these plans out of date and there should be a curb cut turning west onto College?
There's only, I mean, there's one driveway, it is two-way, but it is.
Sorry, I mean the apron angle, not the curb cut.
It really wouldn't change much. The only thing, the radius on the easterly side of the drive could be a little smaller, but it wouldn't change the driveway markedly.
Because you still have folks driving west on College
They can
turning
turn into
south.
there and turning out, so it wouldn't neck the driveway down in overall width. It could maybe be that radius be a touch smaller, but it's really relying on the signage and then enforcement to come out with that.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the city engineer? We'll be right here if we come up with any others. Thank you.
Through the chair. I just will want more clarity around the bike lanes and also close to the car wash. Is there an actual study in regards to bike lanes being close to the actual facilities that, or any facility that you've worked on from an MDOT perspective? Like, I understand the clarity in regards to bike racks and et cetera, but I think we just need to have more clarity for residents in regards to that, the bike lane information.
In terms of like safety?
Safety, right, yeah,
or-
safety and whatnot.
And maybe to build off Commissioner Hall's point, because we also noticed that the bike lane on the plans is shown south and north of the Woodward entrance to the site, but is not shown as continuous striping across the entrance. Was the intention to reroute the bike lane further eastward, or to just not stripe it, or was that an omission?
I'd imagine we'd stripe it across. It might have been just we have all those call-outs there. I'm not sure.
Just be an omission, the striping itself. Regarding the original question, I know from the city's review, you recall. Sorry, I have to.
I mean, especially on this particular plan, and I'm going to speak on behalf of MDOT here, I think the expectation would be that we're taking away the one curb cut, putting in this curb cut, but all the striping and the markings that are out there would have to be replaced across the drives.
Yeah, that was my assumption. Yeah, I guess.
So, do you maybe, Commissioner Hall, does that kind of address your question, or potentially, or more so in terms of like the design of a new driveway along the bike path, since I don't believe we've designed a new driveway, as the bike paths are fairly new and we haven't had a lot of development along Woodward. So I think, the applicant has spoke to, removing one of the curb cuts along Woodward. That does help remove an access point where there's a potential safety concern. But to the potential design, can we kind of, is there anything of note that we need to discuss in terms of the?
Commissioner Huff, I think I understand the question. Did the traffic study incorporate the bike lanes into its analysis?
Correct.
I don't know that answer. I don't know if you know.
Not from the traffic study is more of a volumetric and a congestion issue.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think from all the details, we'd be closing up one driveway, replacing those markings, moving the other driveway to this location, having to put in new markings. One thing that could be done here, working with MDOT, just like across the side streets, would be putting some of the green markings across the new driveway just to make it more visible and more indication to both the cyclist and the cars turning in and out that there is a opening there and a conflict point. So it'd be making sure we work with MDOT and require that those markings get put in and moved from the two different driveways to the one new driveway.
Got it.
Can I bring up one other thing, non-traffic related, if that's okay? Just from the residents' commentary, there was a question of hours of operation. We had proposed 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Just given the feedback, we'd be happy to, close an hour earlier and shut down at 8 p.m. Versus 9 p.m. So hopefully that, helps out a little bit. Thank you.
Through the chair, was there any consideration given to making the College Street curb cut an entry only? Or is that required for exiting? Because it seems to me like if you're coming out of the wash tunnel, that you will not be able to make that turn to get back to Woodward. So everybody's essentially forced to go out onto College.
We did provide a traffic turning movement that shows that F-150 can make that turn there. Really, when we were designing it, we thought it would be good to have two options to exit the site. One directly onto Woodward and one onto College, just kind of relieve that one point.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. It's just that it seems doing that U-turn through traffic coming in and vacuum people coming out, it does seem like it's basically just going to send everybody out onto College, which is a concern to me. So I don't know, I'm not asking for changes, but just,
Does the site work if it's entry only, or if we remove the egress completely, or the driveway?
I'm gonna ask the operations person if that's okay. So let me, ask me the question again, just to make sure I understand completely.
Does the site work under two proposed scenarios? One with entry only from College, or two with removing the College driveway completely?
I think removing the College driveway completely is an ordinance question. If I remember from our conversations with Roger, so I don't want to speak to that, but I can, let me ask a question operationally, so give me 1 second. Is that right, Roger? It's an ordinance issue?
I can't recall the provision in the old code, but there was a code provision that said primary access had to be from Woodward, wasn't there, in the old code?
Primary from Woodward, correct?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying to remove the College Street one.
I'd have to review the ordinance. I don't think there's an issue with that. Kyle handled this in the beginning, so there was one provision back or forth. I can see if I can find it.
Yes, to the chair, since we're talking about the old code, might this be a good time, since we had a lot of resident comments, comparing the plan to Plan Ferndale, to remind us which code or which ordinance we're working under for this approval?
Yeah, so as a reminder, we are, per the site plan review from the city and from the letter from the city attorney, we are reviewing this plan under the zoning code that was in effect at the time of application in 2023, and not the approved plan from December 2025.
Through the chair, I believe that the Plan Ferndale was published before this request was originally submitted.
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm referring to the zoning ordinance?
Yep.
The master plan was approved prior to.
Correct, with the Plan Ferndale, correct.
Yes, thank
That's
you.
what I was trying, that's what I was trying to clarify.
Gotcha,
So
thank you.
people who are referring to the Plan Ferndale, it still applies
Yes.
in this instance.
But just not the master plan.
Yes.
Or rather, not the zoning ordinance revision. The master plan revision applies, new zoning ordinance does not apply. Thank you.
Is this an active alley?
Yeah, I use it all the time.
I walk there every morning. What is?
Thank you.
Yes, that's how we walk downtown usually.
So when I'm looking at this plan, is the pavement that goes to the alley, does that just go to a wall, or is that access to the alley as well? Okay.
Through the chair, are we still in question phase?
Yeah, and I did find from the requirements of the drive-through facilities, section 24-146, that does speak to vehicular access, that each drive-through facility shall comply with parking, approach, and stacking space requirements of Article X, that driveways shall be designed to accommodate the type and volume of vehicular traffic using the site and shall be located in a manner that does not create a traffic safety risk or congestion condition. Vehicular access shall be directly from a principal arterial road as defined in the master plan. And so that's why we have certainly want the driveway on Woodward Avenue. It does say with a minimum right-of-way width of 120 feet, which Woodward wouldn't. be within those restrictions. Are you ready to?
We're researching.
Okay, still, okay. Councilman Palka, did you have something?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of years thrown around. How long has the developer owned this property? I've heard 2 years, 3 years.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. How long has the developer owned the property? We've been hearing a number of years.
I think it's about 24, what year? Fall of 23? Fall of 23.
Fall of 23, okay, thank you. How many gallons of water is used to, for each vehicle wash?
To 25 gallons of water, then how much of it's 90% of that, and 90% of that is reused.
Okay.
Okay.
20 to 25, okay. I'm assuming that larger car gets more water.
For the
Why
type
would it
of
be
wash.
20 to 25?
You want the undercarriage or et cetera? I'm sure different types of washes.
I think we're just giving them, I don't have the exact number, I think 20 to 25, I don't know if it was, is it
Okay.
car specific? Yeah.
So we have 3 different packages that have different levels of like wax that you can put on it. So the water usage does not vary greatly from the size of car. So it would be right around that 20 to 25, depending on the layout and operations of the tunnel.
Okay. The vacuum area is completely enclosed, right?
Correct.
Okay, roof. Okay. What type of exhaust system will you be used? Vehicles are going to be driving in and out. People are going to be, leaving their vehicles running. There's going to be a lot of carbon dioxide building up. I'm assuming you're going to be pumping that out of the building. Is that going to be filtered?
So we will be putting in a full HVAC system that will allow for full ventilation of the space, as well as in some of as the doors raise as well, airflow will also be going out, as well as interior fans that will move the air throughout the space. With these units, they do include filters that do filter the air as both intake and outtake through the building.
Okay. You don't happen to have any specs for that equipment?
We do not have them on us today, but I'm happy to provide it.
There's specific specs that you're
I'd just like to know how much is actually filtered. What percentage is going to still be exposed back into the air? That's my questions for now.
Just one thing to note on the filter, it's very similar from a building code perspective to a parking garage. So that's how we're doing the construction drawings and doing that is through the parking garage occupancy and requirements through there. So that's a great comparison when thinking about this interior operation.
Well, then I guess my next question then is for Roger is, do we have any requirements for that type of equipment use, like requirements for air quality for parking structures or for this type of use?
Mechanical.
Parts per million that,
I can't answer that specifically, but a mechanical person will put together a mechanical package and submit it for review.
Okay.
Or a commercial plan reviewer, just like a tunnel or a parking garage or something like that, and they'll have to review it.
Okay.
Commissioner Pollock, I'm just thinking, I think that's sort of a control on the vehicles that are going in there. It's mostly just the responsibility of the parking areas. It's just to make sure it's properly ventilated so that there's no, its breathability and all that is, you're not having CO2 issues in the space. But I don't know that from an architectural standpoint that I've ever, or an engineering standpoint that I've ever heard that the air quality has to be filtered in a way coming out of a parking deck or anything like that.
Understand, but I think the residents would like, to know that they're not getting any more exposure. standing in line with a vehicle that is running, and, maybe 10 minutes, and then you're in the car wash, they're going to be vacuuming their car for 20, 30 minutes. That's a lot longer of a vehicle running.
Yeah,
So that was my concern, is the pollution that's going to be,
idle time.
yeah.
And it's a major concern for us. We'll make sure the customers that are within,
Oh, yeah, you don't want them to die.
Yeah, right. That's well said.
Through the chair, I have a question. What percent of people vacuum but don't get a car wash? Do you see more traffic crossing that way, people queuing for both? And is it before they wash, after they wash? Some general statistics?
About 10% generally vacuum their cars. Go ahead.
To clarify, you asked how many people vacuum their car without going through the wash, or in general?
In general, yeah.
So typically, our vacs are free for any single wash user or member, especially interior vacs. So typically, we see around 90% of our customers also vac after they wash. Typically, it is after they wash. We encourage to wash first to help eliminate people only using the facility for free vacuums or anything of that nature. So typically, we see a very low amount of people, if any, only vacuuming only and not using the full facility.
Thank you. And sort of a follow-up on that, trash management of the vacuum area, because, you vacuum your car, you offload a lot of stuff, food, things that are waste that have rodents and pests.
Yeah, so there's 4 to 6 people on site at any given moment, manning the car wash. So there is staff there. Every individual station has its own trash receptacle, towel to dry off your car, amenities, windshield cleaners and various other things, and those are emptied on an hourly basis. So every hour we have the attendants going through, making sure it's emptied out and making sure that's kept, clean, which obviously should be given. That's our brand, so that's what we do.
And your waste management, it looks, your dumpsters across the alley?
Correct, and then we'd be using one of the local, waste management companies to do so.
You estimate that would be daily, a couple times a week?
Couple times a week is what we typically would have to do.
One additional piece to add with our vacuum system, it has a centralized repository system. So if you see at typical car washes, they have can vacuums at each one. Each one of those holds what you suck up out of your car. So with ours, the trash is actually people disposing it from their cars. And then any trash that's being sucked up through the vacuum goes back to a centralized system as well.
And building off of that, how do you expect the employees of the car wash to move the waste as they collect it to the dumpster in the off-site parking area?
Yeah, they would. It's south out of the vac enclosure, and there's a sidewalk that actually goes down and over that connects to that off-site enclosure.
Sorry, they'd be carrying the bags of trash through the south end of, or south, I don't see a door on the building, so maybe
Yeah,
through the wash and then up
Through the
south?
pay station area, yeah, not through the
And then
wash.
across the pay station traffic over down the sidewalk?
Yes, and it's I believe it's done after hours when they're closing down for the
No,
day.
so typically they, so not only are there responsibilities to empty the trash, but also inspect the site and ensure that customers are using it properly and that there's no debris around the site as well. So with these procedures that we have in place for emptying the trash, they're also responsible for maintaining the overall operations of the site. So this would be part of, it wouldn't be just a direct single responsibility of them taking out trash, but would be part of ensuring the pay stations are working properly for the sales associates, as well as walking around the building, making sure that it's upkept and typical maintenance on the site.
Sure, that makes sense. But in terms of, you mentioned also maybe that it was a nightly, taking the trash out. I've worked in a lot of restaurants, even in downtown Ferndale. And we did the same thing. We had like a staging area inside for trash, and then we took it across the parking lot to a dumpster in the evening. Is that the plan, or is the plan to have employees like traversing the site to both do the upkeep, but also to, be making hourly trips to the dumpster?
Throughout the day, they're going to be traversing it. If they have to go once a day, they'll go at the end, but throughout the day, they're going to be, making sure the site's kept up.
Thank you.
Through the chair, what do you guys anticipate as your daily customer capacity, and then maybe weekly? Like how many do you expect to see?
Probably anticipate on a daily basis, 200 to 300, cars per day would be the estimate.
Can we go back to the traffic and the driveway along College Street? Would the on-site circulation work without having the driveway along College Street? And would that cause any backups along Woodward if we were not have a second driveway?
And that's probably, what's that?
We would have to run the numbers.
We'd have to run the numbers and, and also get MDOT approval to do that as well, and also city ordinance. So I don't know that answer offhand. I apologize.
Okay, it's just that our ordinance says that the number of driveways serving a property shall be the minimum necessary to provide reasonable access for traffic. And so if it's required for reasonable access, we can permit additional driveway, but access to the parcel shall consist of either a single two-way driveway or a pair of one-ways. And so that the Planning Commission may permit the additional driveway meeting the following requirements: that the additional driveway is for a property with a continuous frontage over 300 feet. A traffic study is provided that demonstrates to the city engineer that the additional access is justified without compromising traffic, and the Planning Commission may permit 2 one-way driveways when it's found to be the most reasonable access for a given site. So just, our ordinance, and of course with the feedback that we've heard on College Street and with the traffic on College, and of course we've had a lot of discussion around the safety for vehicular safety, but also pedestrian bicycle. So if you haven't already run the numbers without the reduction of the College Street, I would be remiss in requesting it from you to see that traffic study based on all that we've heard and based on our ordinance as well.
One idea that we had that we think we could make work operationally, but obviously we need MDOT's approval, and we briefly spoke about that. And I mentioned 2 one-ways, I think was something in the ordinance you read.
I think that was like preferable than two full.
Yeah. So one thing which we think we could make work operationally, obviously we need fire, safety, MDOT, but one thing which we think we could make work if it was of interest is an ingress only on College, so no egress, and an egress only on Woodward. So if the respective governing bodies would approve that, that's something that we could make work operationally. So instead of having 2 full curb cuts on College, or 2 full curb on Woodward. So also that would take away from people making that right out to College post-wash. I think that's one of the things that the residents have brought quite a bit, and it would direct all traffic back onto Woodward as we're exiting out. So that's one thing we'd be happy to consider if that's something that would be of interest.
I appreciate that. I would actually think that with traffic safety concerns, ingress on College only would actually be potentially worse with stacking, and because there's very short space between Woodward and the driveway, and so if there's stacking, people are just gonna go through onto College and kind of turn around or whatever they have to do, and that will potentially actually increase traffic on College. But if we were to have ingress and egress on Woodward, but ingress only, not the egress. I think that would actually be preferable for the situation along College.
We'd have zero issues with that, obviously. That would
Okay,
work.
is that something that would also need to be run by Woodward and the city? Because I think that if that's the case, I think we would want to potentially look at both situations where the ingress egress on Woodward with no College Street, but also proposal with the ingress egress along Woodward and ingress only on College.
Sure, we could work with,
And sorry, Commissioner Michelle, did you have something to add?
I was just going to say, I mean, with their stacking length on site coming off of College, they basically got stacking all the way up to the attendant booth. So what's your stacking amount in that queuing area?
so Mitch, what's our total cars from the tunnel entrance all the way to this point? You guys can't see what I'm pointing at. How many cars?
Well, let's just say hypothetically, you come in off of College, how many cars would stack up to the attendant booth?
We have 27 spaces.
Where's that from?
That's from there
tunnel
to there.
I will note, though, that's from the tunnel to the north. It does not count all the way to College. So where the main area comes together.
How many more cars do you think that would be? Another 6 to 8?
Yeah, but I don't think, I mean, ideally, and that was our concern when we were looking at that whole interior intersection, so to speak, come together, is that we don't want stacking in that space. You want that clear so that people can move in or out without relying on that for stacking.
But if it's a one-way, then the exit out of the car wash would be going out onto Woodward.
If it's an ingress only, then you could pretty much curb off. I think that's what, if I understand the thought, yeah, we could curb it off almost, and it would be additional stacking per se, correct?
That might solve some of the cross conflicts too with the people coming in from Woodward as people are exiting the car wash and exiting the vacuums, which we now know people use at the end. So people are coming in and turning the tight right into the vacuums, and then they're coming back out, turning left, which, as Chair Foster pointed out, people are going to do the preferential. They're going to want to go the slight right onto College instead of the left out onto Woodward. So removing that egress onto College, I think would
Through the chair,
be great for both purposes.
would it be possible just to dead end College? And so just, you can only make a left onto Woodward, just to throw it out there?
I don't understand.
Meaning, so it forces the drivers to make a left and not go make a right onto College.
We're talking about them making the College the ingress only, so that people have to turn from Woodward onto College directly into the site, and they can't go right onto College. So it would only be an entrance, not an exit.
No, meaning on College that you cannot go straight down that street at all. Like it just dead ends goes in there.
Closing off the street.
Closing it off, correct.
I think that's beyond the scope.
That is,
Okay.
it's a
It
city
was just a
council.
question.
Yeah, that's a city council issue.
Yeah.
So, any of those scenarios that we just discussed would need to be run by MDOT for approval. Is that correct? Okay. Thank you.
Through the chair. I believe you said that there's, you're expecting 200 to 300 cars per day, roughly?
Correct.
And it's 2 cars per minute? I'm sorry, 2 minutes per car?
Minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Okay. So at 13 hours, your maximum capacity would be 390 cars, if it was all day long.
Yeah, the math sounds right to me.
Okay. Well, my point was that it's like 75% of the maximum.
All right, do we have any further questions for this applicant or the city at this time? Oh, I do have one. You talked a little bit about the resident comments about stating that they had visited neighboring car washes and the fumes and the lights, et cetera. Can you just talk more in depth about how this site and design specifically is different than some of the others, if so, and how that can potentially curb some concerns if that's the case?
Yeah, we have the same, standard, our guiding light for all of our locations of what, Mr. Karras, who founded the company, our guiding, our North Star is, operational excellence. Our goal is not to be like any other car wash or do anything that other car washes do. So, one, I was disappointed to hear that one of the residents went to the Madison Heights location and experienced, fumes and smells and everything else of that nature. So by cleaning out the reclaim tanks and the different, maintenance things we do, those issues shouldn't be taking place. And again, I would offer up, I can throw out 3 dates. I'd be happy to tour, the residents of the community either through our Madison Heights location, through our Warren location, through our Sterling Heights location, Brand location. I'll meet anybody, anytime, and tour them through our operation, put them in, have our, head of equipment, walk them through the process and systems of what we do. And, our goal is operational excellence. Our goal is not to, bring something negative to the community. Because if we bring something negative to the community, they're not going to want to go there. So Sam can address the operational stuff. But again, I would offer that up this evening. If anybody, I'm happy to send out 4 or 5 dates to meet at site to walk me through how we run our car washes. But Sam, if you want to address those issues.
Okay, real quick before you start. So also any specifics, I know you had said, and I know that there's some, some potentially different changes. I don't know if all your sites are brick and they'll have the same amount of glazing, et cetera. But also you had mentioned that the light poles are at 15 feet rather than, I think, 18, which was allowable. And like some of those like site differences, do you do those everywhere, or is that to accommodate the concerns that we've had already in the past? Some of those specifics.
Yeah, no, I could. Yeah, 100%. I'm happy to address. I'll let Samantha deal with the high level, the daily operational, items. But what we're doing here, we haven't done anywhere else in the state of Michigan, and we've only done it in one other location. The second story office component. When we started, talking to the city of Ferndale, having a mixed use project was something of, utmost importance. And that's the reason we decided to do the second story office space. That's how that iteration started. Then as we started talking further about the project, the question of the VACs came up. So we decided to completely and fully enclose the VACs. So that was another thing. That's a significant investment, in closing that. Then there was a question of the transparency issues and having all glass. So as you can tell, there's a tremendous amount of glass on the project. I know that our team architect spoke about that. So literally what we're building in Ferndale is something that we've built enclosed, we've built second story, but combining all of them together, all masonry, all enclosed, everything included. Talk about the fact that we heat all the concrete, that's exterior, so there's no accumulating ice. There's some stuff we generally do on all of our sites, the landscaping and everything else. We truly believe we're bringing a beautiful product to the city of Ferndale. It's something we've taken everything we've done at all of other locations, put it into one, and tried to deliver the greatest product we possibly can. And we're excited to do it in this community. We're really, really excited to be here, and hopefully the community members that weren't happy with us today, get to know us and trust us. And, we're excited to do this. And we really, truly believe, I know there was a commentary brought up about 2,500 feet from downtown Ferndale. I do think that as businesses are looking to invest in Ferndale, and you can point to a group that's not from, not originally from Michigan, but now has deep, deep roots in Michigan. They decided to invest $10, $11 million in this community. I think that is a positive thing. I think that brings more on. Like, why do these guys want to invest $10, $11 million in this community? They could have done it anywhere else in Metro Detroit, but why do they decide to invest it in here? Because we believe in Ferndale, we believe in the opportunity. So hopefully we become a marketing piece for the city of Ferndale. That's our goal. And we believe in it, and we want to be here. But everything we're doing here on this, it's every wild, crazy idea we've ever had, and we're bringing it all into one on this project. So, and we're excited to do it. Thank you.
You want to have anything to add? Sorry, I know.
No, I wasn't sure if that answered it. No, yeah, I think he covered it all. He did.
All right, thank you. All right, any further questions? All right. You might be able to take a seat.
Thank you.
Can't promise I won't call you back up.
I'm here. We're here.
All right, so just as a reminder, we have two applications before us, a special land use and the site plan approval. The site plan approval is under the purview of the Planning Commission to, for final approval, and the special land use is under, well, we're a recommending body to the city council who has a final approval for the special land use. So we could have, if anyone has any comments or a motion that we can comment on. I would probably prefer a motion for the special land use prior to site plan approval.
And I would make a motion to approve the special land use in the matter of 230 Woodward Avenue. After a public hearing was held, as set for this date and place, the Planning Commission recommends to the City Council approval of the special land use based on the plans dated March 18th, 2025, with the following findings. The proposed development does not detract from, erode, or reduce the desirability of economic viability of any residential or business uses within 2,500 feet of the proposed use. The site is designed, constructed, operated, and maintained so as to be harmonious with the existing or intended character of the general vicinity and will change the essential character of the area. The site design of the proposed special land use does minimize the impact of the site activity of surrounding properties. The proposed improvement to the site enhances the public health, safety, welfare, and economic benefit and policies of the city. And the plans are consistent with the intent and purposes of this chapter and the objectives of the master plan, the Woodward Avenue non-motorized transportation plan, and Ferndale moves. I don't believe I have any other
That is
stipulations.
a motion by Newman. Do I have a second? We'll need a second for any comments on the motion or discussion. I don't have a second.
Motion dies for lack of support, so you could entertain whether there's another motion that anybody else on the commission would like to make.
Well, hearing no seconds, the motion will die. Do I have an opposing motion?
Through the chair, I will make a motion. I will make a motion to deny the special land use in the matter of 22230 Woodward Avenue, Sidwell number 2534-253-037. After public hearing is held and set for this date and place, the Planning Commission recommends the City Council deny the special land use based on the plans dated March 18th, 2025, with the following findings. Proposed development detracts from, erodes, or reduces the desirability or economic viability of any residential or business uses within 2,500 feet of proposed use. The site is not designed, constructed, or operated and maintained so as to be harmonious with the existing and intended character of the general vicinity and will change the essential character of the area. The site design of the proposed special land use does not minimize the impact of the site activity on surrounding properties. The proposed improvement to the site does not enhance the public health, safety, and welfare and economic benefit of the policies of the city. The plans are not consistent with the intent of the purposes of this chapter and the objectives of the master plan, the Woodward Avenue non-motorized transportation plan, and Ferndale moves.
Second.
It's a motion by Michelle and a second by Brazen.
Azar.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. It's late. All right, I will entertain discussion on the motion. And I think what I would like to do during discussion is to maybe talk a little bit more specifically about these findings. And perhaps we can just go through them one by one to be the proposed motion in the packet presents the findings as they're stated in the site plan. But as we have heard a lot of discussion, I know that a lot has been said already in regards specifically to these criteria, but I want to make sure that they are captured in discussion of the motion and potentially a friendly amendment of the motion, should it be so, to get to maybe more of the specifics and the findings of the special land use. And so let's start with the proposed development. Whether or not it detracts from or erodes or reduces the desirability of economic viability of any residential or business uses within the 2,500 feet of the proposed use. It has been stated in the motion that the development does detract from that economic viability. We have heard comments from residents during the public hearing to this effect. And would you like to add anything to that as the?
Yeah, I think the executive director of our DDA, Jenny Beaker, commented to this as well. And in some of the submissions from businesses that we received through our packets of businesses that wrote in, they specifically spoke to the effects that their concerns about affecting their business as well. There hasn't been any business owners here tonight, but we did read that in our submissions and our packets.
Any additional comment on the economic viability of residential or business uses? The desirability, how this development affects that? I think specifically, we did hear that as we are trying to market properties along Woodward, there was concern that having a car wash immediately adjacent to homes that are owned and rented, there's concern that for the residential economic viability that may cause a concern, as we heard from our neighbors here tonight, and from the DDA director that businesses potentially won't want to locate immediately adjacent to a car wash use. We also heard that thankfully the applicant has dutifully said that they would like to be good stewards and remain a business for a long time, and so we are looking at the viability of businesses and residents for the foreseeable future. It was stated that there's also some concern about potential uses if they were to leave, and if that building is suited for future economic development and adaptive reuse. Are there any other statements or concerns to add on the economic viability? Next, our next special land use finding is to consider and will change the essential character of the area. The site design of the proposed special land use should minimize the impact of site activity of surrounding properties. Or whether it does or does not. Yes. Whether it does or does not. Shelley, as it was your motion, would you like to elaborate on how you think the?
In general, I think it's the walkability, the alternate transportation, I think it creates a void in our connectivity from north of College to the south. Recent architecture that is marching down from our central business district.
I do think that the applicant has made some changes to address a lot of our concern. As we discussed, there's some potential improvements to be made there to continue to help reduce traffic along College Street. As we've heard, that is a major concern for the neighborhood, particularly in that there are already foreseen speed and traffic issues on College for the residents. It has done what they can, but I would like to see more, and to me, I would like to see those changes as we discussed on reducing the egress from kind of like that four-way. I think that additionally to that, of course, we've made mention often tonight about the major investment that the city's made. 2 drives along Woodward to 1, which is beneficial. However, it is a auto-centric use, which is not in line with what we would like to see along the, as discussed, not picking up new, potentially, oh gosh, it is getting late, folks. Not necessarily destination, but picking up traffic potentially already. So there, I think, are we've seen some great improvements from our master plan and from what we were trying to create along Woodward, in Ferndale specifically. Any further comments?
I think I would also note that former Commissioner Hagforth's comments about sort of walkability and connection to other businesses that are adjacent.
Moving on to finding number 3.
Chair Foster, I think to find that one in read number 4 and 5, and that would be is not served adequately by existing public services and facilities and imposes additional service demands upon the city that will not be adequately addressed by the applicant. And of course, one should be is not served adequately by existing public services and facilities and imposes additional service demands upon the city that will not adequately be addressed by the applicant.
The proposed use must be in a place that is served by essential public facilities and services. The use must be adequately served by essential public facilities such as highways, streets, police, water, and sewage. Is that, wait.
Amendment.
Commissioner Azar?
I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
Can you read it one more time? Because it sounds, I'm not sure it is a finding for denial.
So as a reminder, so the review process, all special land uses require accompanying site plan, conditional final approval, public hearing.
Excuse me, can I make a point or a request?
Yes, just a second. So the following standards must be met for a special land use as applicable. And then it states the 5 standards. And then it doesn't say that it's like an all or nothing kind of situation, I believe. And is that, you have the, and then I did also want to ask the applicant if they were already aware of the 5th, just because it wasn't in our packet. I wanted to make sure that the applicant did. So I wanted to ask you that, so I'm not sure if that's what you were going to say or not, but feel free to address us with your comment or concern, and then also address mine, please.
I was not planning on addressing that point. My name is Jeff Schlessel. I'm an attorney for the applicant from Carson Fisher. Based on the comments we received and some of the conversation that was had during the comments of this commission,
it seems that we would benefit, I think everyone would benefit, because we've listened to your comments and some concerns about the ingress and egress and possible changes to those, that it would seem it would be valid for us to have the opportunity to revise the plan, further explore some of those comments, particularly with MDOT, who obviously has a say in this, along with some of the emergency services that we need their input as well, that we would request possibly tabling this for further consideration and discussion with those bodies and authorities, and then resubmit a revised plan, which I think would then address many of the concerns raised both in the public comment and those by this commission.
Thank you. So a request for tabling the decision?
Correct.
For the application? We're in the middle of a motion. Can you just help me with procedure here, please?
Yeah. Chair, in light of the applicant's request, I think it would be appropriate to either withdraw the motion, if there's support for that, or proceed forward and potentially decline to actually call the motion and allow this motion to take precedent and consider at the table on the request, so that additional information could be provided to this commission. So those are the options for the commission.
So that we can either withdraw or move forward, and I'm not clear on the second option.
Those are the options. In light of the applicant's request to supplement their materials, it would be my recommendation that the Planning Commission proceed along that path. And so if the maker of the motion was willing to move to withdraw his motion, and if it's supported, then you could vote on that, and then move to table this proceeding to another date to be set in the future once the supplemental material is provided.
I think I appreciate the ask. I think to me, the exploration of ingress, egress, that's all kind of applies to the site plan approval and less to I guess, my impression of the special land use. So I would like to still call the question after we finish reviewing the findings. And I guess if so, the commissioners can deny the motion and we can discuss tabling. But I think I would like to follow through with the completion of the motion.
Right, so then we had an open question about the findings.
Yes, okay. And so, as I'm looking at it, I just wanted to also reiterate that, so to the point of the special land use versus the site plan, the intent of the special land use in general, per our zoning ordinance, is that a use is allowed through the special land use process is a recognition that certain uses may be necessary or desirable to allow in certain locations within a zoning district, but which, due to their actual or potential impact on neighboring uses or public facilities, must be more carefully reviewed with respect to their location, design, and operation. This, and so that we have these procedures and standards for reviewing that special land use for that intent. And so it is, of course, hard to unknot the site plan from the special land use, but I'm not disagreeing that in your opinion on the matter. Just wanted to say that the special land use is more about the use in this particular location. And so, so going back to the approval standard and to my question, I wanted to make sure that, and just because I'm not remembering off the top of my head, but I'm sure that we had in the application those 5 standards, and you should already be aware that it was just an omission from our site plan packet that that 5th approval standard wasn't listed.
And which one was the 5th standard? I missed that.
The one that was missing was the adequately served by essential public services.
I second the friendly motion amendment.
Just that.
Yes, that's fine. That's fine.
Roger,
Are you okay with?
Yeah, we're okay with it.
okay, thank you. All right, and so it doesn't matter if it's 3 or 4, does it, Roger? We were on number 3 when you interjected. It's number 3? Okay, so number 3 is now, with the friendly amendment to the motion, we've added finding number 3, which is that, gosh, I just thank you if you don't mind, I just lost my page.
It'll be in the denial form, so in the staff report, it's in the positive, that would be in the negative, is not served adequately by existing public services and facilities, and imposes additional service demands upon the city that will not be adequately addressed by the applicant. And I think Chair Foster was mentioning, do all 5 have to be met, or some of them? That would be a Dan, a city attorney question.
Through the chair, that's the motion. Those are the standards that are set forth in the ordinance. And the commission is supposed to consider, based on the record, whether there are facts to support or not support those particular standards. And so you have to consider what was presented to you and the application and determine whether there are facts, based on the motion pending, that would not support that standard or not, or be contrary to that particular standard.
Thank you. My question is that we could recommend denial on the substantiation that just one of the findings is not met, or does it have to be all 5 are not met? I think per our ordinance, it doesn't state that all of these need to be not met, but.
Through the chair, when that's answered, then I have another question.
I'm going to have to look to them back to find the text is in.
Thank you.
Second question, though, did you have?
Yeah, we'll move forward with another question. Thank you.
And did we send you the previous ordinance? Okay.
So my seconding of that amendment was when it was written in the positive, and that if it's actually in the negative, then I don't support that finding. If we don't have to have all or nothing, then I support the 4 that are written here. But the 5th one, in the negative, I don't think is a finding that I would support.
Gotcha. Yep, but I apologize. I think to be more clear, we would still state all 5 findings. It was just whether or not they're in the positive or the negative.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'd still want to, I mean, because we still have to review, the special land use on all of the findings. So yes, just so whether or not it's.
Finding would be in there, but in this motion, it would be in the positive, not in the negative.
Yes.
So Commissioner Azar, would you then request that, that we note that it does adequately show that it's meeting existing public services and facilities?
I would say I haven't heard anything that
Denies that?
denies it.
Okay, that's fair. So I guess I would be open to revising that to the affirmative.
So it would be to be adequately
It does adequately
served by.
Yeah, or it is adequately served by.
existing public services and facilities and does not impose additional service demands upon the city that will not be adequately addressed by the applicant.
Through the chair, going back to your question, the applicant has to be able to satisfy all of the 5 standards. So to the extent that there's shortcomings or the commission determines there's findings of fact that support them not meeting all of those standards,
And I agree with Commissioner Azar. We spoke to kind of the sewage improvements, the on-site detention for wastewater, and some of the other public services, I think, are addressed by the city review, and I believe that the applicant has served them. Is there any other further comment on that finding point? All right, next was, then number 3 will become 4, that the proposed improvement to the site does not enhance the public's health, safety, welfare, and economic benefit and policies of the city. And Commissioner Michelli, I'll put it back to you if you would like to begin on findings of fact for that finding.
So as it stands right now, I think this one sort of ties to the concerns of the neighbors related to traffic. This is something that probably would be helped by the additional studies. But as it stands right now, I think that's the implication for that item number 4.
I have another question to a point of procedure. After our recommendation, this still goes to the city council. The applicant can make adjustments. Can the applicant make adjustments to their application and provide more findings prior to bringing it to the city council?
they attempt to supplement that, but council would not have the benefit of the planning commission's weighing in on it, which goes to the issue of the applicant's counsel's request to table it so that the planning commission could weigh in and give its informed recommendation to council, and council would have that benefit.
Any further comments on that finding? Excuse me. All right, finding number 4 in the packet is now number 5, would be consistency with the intent and purposes of the zoning ordinance and the objectives of the master plan, the Woodward Avenue non-motorized transportation plan, and Ferndale moves.
Yeah, I think this one is pretty straightforward. And it's clear that this is a very automobile-centric use. And while our master plans and transportation plan might have been noted as lofty, it is our plan. And that is where we are looking to take the city.
Any further comment on finding number 5? All right, any additional comment in general?
Guess this is another procedural. If we then vote on the motion, is the applicant still able to, are we still able to entertain a movement to table for the applicant?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Sorry. So with the motion as it is now, and we'll vote. If we pass the non-recommendation, are we still able to entertain the applicant's request to table after we've taken a vote on the one as
It
is?
would have been relative to the application for special land use.
Okay, so then if we vote on this motion as it is, we'll lose the opportunity to revise the plan and bring it back to us prior to going to council.
And if we vote down this motion, it doesn't actually provide a movement to the on the application because we are denying the motion for it. We would have to pass another motion.
You would, and it
Sorry,
would allow for.
we usually have a lot easier application, sorry, folks.
It would allow for you to potentially consider the applicant's request at that time.
Yes. And just another reminder that the special land use and the site plan are separate motions. All right, any further discussion? All right, well, the motion on the table from Commissioner Michelli is a motion to recommend denial of the special land use, seconded by Azar. With discussion on the motion, I see that
Can
we
I
have
ask a request? Because I know there's been a lot of discussion. Would you mind repeating the motion in its entirety? Just because I know it changed based on from the initial proposal to where we are right now.
Sure. Michelli, would you like to, or I can?
If you'd like to, I mean,
Either.
all right.
I'm prepared.
I can read. So the motion by myself, seconded by Chair Commissioner Azar, in the matter of 22-230 Woodward Avenue, Sidwell number 25-34-253-037. After public hearing was held and as set for this date and place, the Planning Commission recommends to the City Council denial of the special land use based on the plans dated March 18th, 2025, with the following findings. The proposed development detracts from, erodes, or reduces the desirability or economic viability of any residential or business uses within 2,500 feet of the proposed use. The site is not designed, constructed, operated, and maintained so as to be harmonious with the existing or intended character of the general vicinity and will change the essential character of the area. The site design of the proposed special land use does not minimize the impact of site activity on surrounding properties. Item number 3, the site does adequately meet the existing public service and facility demands for service to the site. Item number 4, the proposed improvement to the site does not enhance the public health, safety, and welfare and economic benefit and policies of the city. And number 5, the plans are not consistent with the intent and purposes of this chapter and the objectives of the master plan, the Woodward Avenue non-motorized transportation plan, and Ferndale moves.
And then with the stated discretion of the facts and findings of those findings?
And just to reiterate, what we're requesting is, or what we proposed was either to have the motion that Commissioner Michelli proposed withdrawn, or if it's not supported by the entirety of the commission, then to have a second motion which would allow us to table the proposal for us to do further studies and revise the proposal to address many of the concerns, or if not all the concerns that were raised by the commission and those in the public comment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion stand? All right, as the motion stands, I'll have a roll call vote.
Can we have
Sorry,
comment before we vote, or no?
yeah, I already asked for it, but yeah,
Oh,
sorry,
I
go
didn't
ahead.
realize you asked for that.
Yep.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So before we vote, I want to thank you for considering Ferndale for this project. It is a significant investment. I appreciate you including all of the ideas and requests that we made to this body back in 2023. I think it's a very attractive building and a very well thought out plan. I also want to thank the residents for coming out and expressing your support and opposition to the project. As a member of City Council and a member of this commission, I have multiple obligations. In addition to my obligation to the residents and business owners who live and work in Ferndale today, I have an obligation to the future residents and businesses to ensure they have a vibrant and active community. The other obligation the commission and members have is to follow and obey the laws and ordinances of the city and the state of Michigan. And sometimes they may conflict with the other two obligations. It's a very difficult line to walk. I have to respectfully oppose this project for most of the findings expressed within the staff report. Even when many of the criteria are met for a project, a special land use allows a controlling body to determine if this type of special land use aligns and supports the master plan and the direction of the community wants the city to advance forward. I'm not opposed to this type of development or this company. I believe this is a project that will have a significant impact on the neighborhood and the type of development the community desires on Woodward. I would very much encourage the developers to consider a location in Ferndale that would be better suited for this type of use. Thank you.
Any further comment on the motion? All right, well, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Moshali?
Yes.
Commissioner Newman?
No.
Commissioner Azar?
Yes.
Councilor Polika?
Yes.
Commissioner Hall?
Yes.
Commissioner Subakatani?
Yes.
Commissioner Brazen?
Yes.
Chair Foster?
Abstain. The motion passes. With the, was that it? I believe that was 6.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's 6 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative, and 1 abstaining.
Yes. So the motion passes. We, again, are recommending body to the city council, and so the recommendation from the planning commission will move forward to the city council. I do encourage the applicant to provide those further studies and you know, before going to the city council, you can provide supplements to your application if you do wish to do so, as you had stated earlier. Based on those comments, I think it sounds like maybe a tabling of the site plan could be in order as the applicant wants to look at the site plan, potentially make some changes, and we also, although that we could provide an approval for the site plan that would become available to, once the city council makes a decision on the special land use, if they were to approve. We also have the opportunity to table and allow for the applicant to make those changes as they stated they would like to. But that is up to us tonight as the application is before us. And so we do need a motion on the site plan application.
I'll move to table the site plan application for further studies from the applicant.
Second.
There's a motion by Michelle and a second by Newman for the site plan to be tabled for 22230 Woodward Avenue.
Roll call vote.
Any comments before we make a roll call? Yes.
Commissioner Moshali?
Yes.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Azar?
Yes.
Councilor Polika?
Yes.
Commissioner Hall?
No.
Commissioner Subakatani?
Yes.
Commissioner Brazen?
Yes.
Chair Foster?
Yes.
6 yes, 1 no.
7 yes, 1 no. It's okay. All right, so I encourage the applicant to talk to the city staff, to talk about the timing of the city council, and then for the residents to keep an eye out for when the application will go to the city council as a site plan. I've said it about 5 times, so I'll say it again. We're the recommended body to the city council for the special land use application, so they will make the final determination. And thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We'll move on to our next agenda item. Thank you to the applicants. All right. As we have no old or new business, I'll move to, or discussion items. I'll move to administrative.
No items, we're going to let everyone get home quicker.
All right, anyone have any commission items? If anyone is interested in a low-income housing tax credit, housing 101 training, see me. I guess I'll leave it at that.
Is that an in-person training?
In
or
Detroit, in
virtual?
person, yeah. It's September 3rd.
I need to get my PD hours in.
Having no further commission items, we will adjourn the meeting of 10:04. Thank you.